Testing, testing, testing. All right, how do I test the audio? Oh, we got stuff. Oh, we got... Do you guys hear this crazy echo thing going on here? Or is this just in my head? Okay, I don't know why I did that, but I'll take it. Echo, echo, echo. All right. How about now? Is the echo gone? The echo is echoey. Maybe I should work with that on. Keep exciting. All right, let me see if I can figure out why do we have dual microphones here on this? Let's mute you. There we go. I muted one of them. Okay. More echo now. All right, I just killed one of the microphones in the stream thing. That's how you guys know I'm a programmer. We're going to talk like that for the night. All right. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, we learn how to make building plans. And for me, it's I relearn because I don't do this very often. So we're going to do a few things tonight. First off, I am going to bring up the Builder's Toolkit because at some point, we're going to switch over to this so that I actually do things correctly. So if any of you doesn't want to wait for me, well, eventually we're going to go through this section. So I will post a link in chat. Where's chat? Where's chat? Where's chat? Here you go. So you guys can, hopefully, at least my moderators can repost that but later. But that is where we'll go eventually. I'm going to walk you guys through, hopefully, these 8. They're not as bad as they seem. And we're going to skip some steps. So the first thing we're going to do is, last time I streamed some of this stuff, I created a little in-game tool, and then Pra created a script to help, and we're going to try and get all that stuff working together. We're going to do some tests on it, and I tried to add a new feature to it like 10 minutes before the stream. So let's go see if that worked at all, because my guess is no. It's very unlikely that I get a script working perfectly the first time. Turn down, there we go. Can you guys still hear me? I had to turn down my monitor because I was driving myself insane. It's so nice having all of my desk organized with all these devices I can reach to. Almost ready for a stream deck here. Let's see. I think last time we determined it was best for me to go into like an end game save and then COC over. All right, so now I gotta remember the name of this cell that we have here. So I'll show you guys once I'm done testing this little thing. I'll tell you when it's time to pick up your pencils and try and copy me. I'm also going to post this little utility we're using as soon as I'm tested this feature, whether or not it works. If it doesn't work, I'll just tell you guys don't use it. Don't use that feature. Well, my goal is tomorrow to take whatever we learned today and kind of tighten things up a little bit, so that way it's all ready for Friday night for those of you guys who are on different time zones or going for the all-nighter for the game jam. All right, so let's go to COC. Let's head over to this cell here. So for those of you guys who weren't here the last time I streamed this, the basic thing that we did was created this infinite world fake settlement where you can kind of build your building plan right in the game. So you can use all the tools you're used to for the design work, and then we have a tool to export, and then we use Workshop Framework to export. This is built right into the workbench menu there. And then we have and then we can use xEdit to convert the Workshop Framework data into a format that works with the CK. And then once you have it in the CK, you can do all the rest of the steps in the toolkit. So that's kind of the goal here. So I'm going to quickly build a couple of items here. I want to test something out. All right, so we're going to go to TGM. All right, let's go ahead and build an item here. I'm going to build a couple, actually. I want to see... What I'm trying to get working is a clone tool so that you can clone items between... Oh, that's a little too big. Let's go something small. Here we go. Clone items between levels. So like say you finish your level 1 design, and it's like, all right, I want that to be my start of level 2. You can do that easily. So let's see if that's possible. So I think the first thing we're going to have to do is go to change plot level to 2, and then exit here. And then if we go clone items Clone items that are on level 1 onto level 2. Cloning complete. Clearly not. Cloning not working. So yeah, I'll need more than 10 minutes to make such a complex feature. So for now, we'll work with what we've got. That'll be something I can definitely do tomorrow because we've got cloning working. We've got the cloning is easy. That's been solved in Workshop Plus for years. I just need to do a better job of copying the code over. So let's start. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to give you guys access to this tool. Oh, I should do that. Let me just give you guys access to the tool. I'm going to quickly, let me disable that, the clone menu so no one's tempted to use it since it doesn't work yet, and I'll fix it tomorrow. But I want to give you guys this tool so you can play with it. Because for a lot of folks, I think one of the barriers to entry here is that the CK is scary. And I'm going to help you guys get past that. But the second barrier is that it's hard to get used to working in this space. So this is to kind of like let you at least do your design work and the tools you're comfortable. And then the rest of it will just be following tutorials. There's not really any thinking about it. So let's go up here to date modified, grab you, plug you here. And I am just going to grab these, zip them up, and I'm just going to toss them on a Google Drive real quick. And then I will send that to you guys. So this is going to be SS2 building tool beta 02 because I put out beta 01 already. So give me just a second. I'm going to go to standby here and make a link for you guys. All right. Go to my public share space. All right, and I will try and stop regularly to answer questions. Just make sure you guys put a at King Gas so I see, because I want to jump to the highlighted messages just to keep the pace moving. Because with hope we will get like a full building plan working like in the first hour, so that way anybody who sees this stream, the VOD of the stream, can grab it real quick, watch through without having to watch me flounder. And then the second half of the stream will be a little more nuanced and spending more time just answering questions and stuff. So here is a link I'm going to paste in chat. This is to my Google Share for it. So it will only let so many of you download it, and then it's going to tell you that you got to wait because we're out of time. Or out of, I don't know what Google does if it's based on size of files, but they eventually lock out the files. But there you go. There's a link in chat. If you could add that to your repastes along with the link I did to the wiki. I think that should be enough to get us going here. All right, so let me bring you guys back to seeing my screen once again, and then we will get into the game here. Where is my scene? Here we go. All right, let's pop back in game. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into our little cell here. I'll show you guys how to use it. It's just a little COC command. And I did not include the README with that because I forgot about it. So you guys are going to have to take notes. But like I said, tomorrow I'll package that up again so that people don't have to do any memorization here. So we're going to start by just loading up a save file that I know has the game loaded. So if you were to, so some of you may not notice or know this, but you can actually run the COC command, which like takes your character and moves you to a different cell right from the main menu. You don't even have to load a game. But with workshop stuff, your testing settlement stuff, that's not a good idea because the game needs a few minutes to kind of turn on all the workshop stuff. And a lot of that time is masked while you're going through the pre-war sequence. So let me get the name of the cell once again. So for this particular tool, we've got this little dummy cell here we can COC to. I will put this command into chat as well. COC, boom. And then we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to go COC to here, and this is going to take us to our little fake world cell. And we're going to do a forced weather 2B52A, which is nice sunny weather. There we go. I don't want to deal with the storm. Okay, and then we're going to already put TJM. Yes, we're in God mode, so we can build infinitely. This will work with Workshop Plus as well, if you want to have that installed. And we're going to just build a few things here. So let's go ahead and go into Workshop mode. And I'm going to just build something relatively simple. with like just snapping walls together and whatnot. We're gonna make a really basic house, because the point of this is I want to show you the workflow, and I don't want to get bogged down on the actual building, because the idea is once you understand the workflow, you can just build like you do normally in the game. You can just build. You're all experts at making settlements. You've been doing it for years, so there's no reason for me to waste a lot of your time with showing you how to work in workshop mode. I'm terrible at it. You guys are probably way better at me. See, look at that. Look at that. Failed at a snap point on a basic wall. Shouldn't be following my advice for how to build. And then we'll go ahead and give you a door. Pop you open. Let's get in. Oops, let's get in here and give it a bed. And where is our thing? And if you do have Workshop Plus installed, which I might. I don't think I do because I'm not flying. You can actually, in theory, you can use like the blueprint tools with this and the clone tools. All of that should work for this. I haven't tried it, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. And then we'll go ahead and put an airplane seat down and a random piece of furniture. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and come over to here. This little doohickey over here. And actually, when in the next version of the tool, I'll move it a little bit closer so you don't have to run all the way over here. I was just trying to make sure that there was room for people to have space to go oversize if they want to. All right, so let's go to change plot level. We're going to go to level 2 and then exit the menu, and that'll give us another blank slate here. And, you know, ideally we'll have the clone tool so that everything that you had at level 1 can start at level 2. I'll have that fixed tomorrow. But for the sake of demonstration, we can just we're going to rebuild a little bit, and we'll make it a little bit different because, you know, the goal is for it to change as you level it up. So actually, let's do this. Let's do, isn't there one with like a stairs in it, or is that on the stairs? That's on the stairs, isn't it? No. Where is that one? What am I thinking of? Is it roofs? Floors. Where's this hidden at? There it is. This is what I was looking for. All right, we're going to use this guy. Put some of those walls on it. And then to make sure that it's clearly different so we can see the difference. Yeah, let's scooch you this way. And is there a sealed one? No. Okay. And then we'll go more flat walls. Now, I don't have a lot of mods or anything installed. This will work with whatever mods and stuff you have installed, though. If you're competing in the game jam tomorrow, the rule is to keep it to base game, SS2 stuff. Any Chef or Choo-Choo, if you happen to be there, I can't remember on the rule set, do we have it that they can use DLC items or not? I don't remember. Oh, here we go. We got our little plugs, which mine's not going to snap, but that's okay. The snapping is not important at all. All right, get you over here. Oh, that one snapped on the back. Okay. Maybe I had to flip it the other way. Ah, there it is. There's the snap. So take advantage of snap points. It's another benefit of doing it in the game over in the CK. The CK, I think it has support for snap points, but I have never gotten them to work correctly. There's probably some secret hotkey that only the best people know. All right, and then now he doesn't want to snap onto this. Okay, fine. You don't want to snap. Oh, now it snapped. All right, and then we need to give him an upper floor here. And we're gonna let this hang off real good because you can. If I can figure out what I need for that, probably some floor pieces. Where are my floor pieces? Wood, floor. All right, let's do you. Oh, trying to give these guys a little balcony. Yeah, I definitely regret not installing Workshop Plus for this. That's okay. All right, and then let's give them an upper level here. Actually, can I do? Let's do it like this. You go here, here, and then we need some of those corners. Oh, those are under walls too. I'll have to re-snap that in a second. Oh, you go away. You get out of the way. There we go. Sure, lookout spot out there. That's what that's for. Meant to do that. I don't know why I didn't use these. Oh, I was going to try and use a different set and decided against it at the last minute. All right, and then leave you here, sure. And then where are those? Oh, I guess we should cap the roof. Again, doesn't have to look good right now. We're just trying to get it functional. All right. All right, sure. Well, you guys know the fun of dealing with snap points in this game. That's not my problem. We also know how to turn them off and all of that. So don't get hung up on how bad I am at building in game. This is why I made some settlements and I don't do manual building. But those of you guys who do manual building are going to crush this. All right, so then we can go ahead and give ourselves some furniture in here. We'll go ahead and move our airplane seats upstairs. Same with our bed. We'll use a little bit better bed this time, but nice and dirty. You guys know how I like my grimy post-apocalypse. Oh, we can do lights too. Let's go ahead and give him level 2 to get some lights in here. Go ahead and give you guys one of... All right. Trying to remember the button. There it is. Hold A. Oh, that only works a little bit. Oh, that's wonky. Building with controller, hard mode. And they don't actually have to... Okay, so here's a nice thing to know. You don't actually have to have your lights on. So when you're building in here, you can put a generator in just to get to see how it looks, but you probably don't want the generator to be part of your plan. But I'm going to show you there's a step coming up where you'll be able to delete things you don't want. So you're not stuck with anything that gets imported and whatnot. Now let's put a few things down here for our level 2 here. No, we don't want decoration bed. What is this? What is this? I don't know why there's a bed decoration. Let's see. Let's use... Yeah, we'll put some bugs in here. Bug decorations on the walls. A little Brahmin head. All right. And how about a rug? And then we'll be done. We have a big rug here. No, I can't squeeze it in there. Okay, you can get a little doily rug. Okay, and in theory, this should also work with Place Everywhere's scaling and everything too. We'll test that. Go ahead and make that really big. Nope, that's not picking up. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got our level 1 and our level 2. Oh, we forgot a door. Forgot a door. That's important. It's not important at all. I'm teasing. Let's see here. Let's go to the doors and we'll go white door. Okay, so here we go. I just heard a crazy sound effect. I don't know where it came from, but it wasn't the Ron, so I must not have to pay attention to it. Okay, so since we want this to be residential, really the only thing that we added there that was important was a bed. Literally nothing else mattered in there. When you get to the other building classes, you almost need nothing. But there are a lot of stuff you can do. You can add like animation markers and such. And the best place for animation markers would be to use the Wasteland Reconstruction Kit, which hopefully I have enabled here. Yes, I do. Under Wasteland Reconstruction Kit, we let this load. I think it's under special idle animations. So you can add, there's all these different, we call them blue men, but you can add all these animation markers into your plan and these will work. Now, using these aren't ideal for building plans, and I'll show you why later. Well, we'll go ahead and put one in just so I can show you why later, and I can show you how to switch it too, because that'll be useful to know. But just know that if you use Wasteland Reconstruction Kit, even like stuff like this that you normally would have access only to, you would only have access to in the CK, you can get in the game too, so you can get your positioning down. Get it a little bit closer. Come on. There we go. All right, so we got a little animation marker too. There we go. All right, so now we're going to switch back to level 1. Go to level 1. And this should swap our items out. These guys are all going to hide, and they're left behind our level 1 here. There we go. There's our level 1 again. All right, and then we're going to export it. So this is built into Workshop Framework. If you have Workshop Framework and F4SC installed, you will have this option. We're going to go to Settlement Layout, Export Layout, and say Export it. And then we just let this run. Shouldn't take long. All right, there we go. So now this is going to tell you where this log file goes to. So you can actually, this % user profile, this you could type that into, like, you could hit Windows R. So if I type this in and go Windows user profile and then documents and my games Fallout 4, like, it will find it all. So you can do it that way, or you can just go to your documents folder. But this is just showing you a path that you can actually type in. And we're going to go to script user WSF export, and we're going to find this random generated number that it was given. So here's our one, and I'm going to rename it. So we're going to name it stream building plan export level 1. So there's our first one. Then we're going to switch over to level 2. And let all that stuff appear. And then we'll do the same thing again. Manage, settlement layout, export, export it. Let this one export. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! What do we got here? Slingo with $5 donation. Thank you so much. Did anything ever come from that custom faction flag making workbench you showed on Patreon a long time ago? Yes, it's working. It is done. It can make thousands of combinations of flags. It will come out soon. It's going to be its own separate mod, PC only, because it's kind of nightmare fuel for how it works, and Xbox will croak under it. But that should be coming out soon. I want to say it's going to come out with patch 3.3.0, but we have like one extra little special thing we're working on with it right now. And whether or not that gets finished in time is the question mark. And if it does, then we'll be able to release it with the patch 3.3.0. Otherwise, it'll probably come with the patch after. And yeah, so that is coming very, very soon. That's something I'm really excited about, because I knew in theory it could work. And as you said, I posted a Patreon video of a prototype of it working, but like seeing it actually work is crazy. So it's gonna be coming soon. So yeah, what they're talking about is we made a tool where you can design a flag in game from a weapon workbench. You design, like, you pick the color of your flag, pick the emblem that goes on it, the color of the emblem. It's not infinite. Like, we can't just keep adding more and more colors and emblems to it, because if you look at the mass under the hood and how it's made, it is done with every new color or emblem we add adds like an exponential number of additional records. So it gets to the point where if we added like 20 more, we would hit the form ID limit in the base game. So we have had to be very, very careful with what we added to it, but it's still a very cool thing that exists. And, you know, people who, if you know how to make a flag, you can still release more flags for SS2. So, you know, if we spark your interest with that and you want to have more flags, like, somebody can go make flags in Photoshop and release infinite of those still. All right, so now let's go to our second workshop framework export here, which is this 30106. So let's find the other one. What did I call it? Stream something. There it is. Get it to the same name. Stream level 2. Okay. So in theory, you can have a building plan with one level. Like, there's nothing that forces you to have multiple levels. So we're going to just do levels 1 and 2, and that's fine. We can come back and add a 3 later. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a stream building plan. And this will be a good idea. You'll want to make save files of whatever you're building so that you can come back and tinker with it if you don't want to have to do the design over. So, all right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load up Fallout 4Edit. So this is something you install wherever you want, and then you just run it from that directory. I've pinned it to my taskbar so I can, whoops, and I just ran Skyrim Edit because I use these pretty much every day. So I've pinned them. So you go ahead and load up Fallout 4Edit, and then you're going to load up with SS2. So we're going to go ahead and double click SS2 here. If you happen to use some buildable item from chapters 2 or 3 or extended, you'll want to load those as well. But for the most part, you'll just need SS2. Guitar noise. What are you talking about, Yogi? What's happening here? Do you guys hear random music? That makes me think, did I leave a stream running? I don't see anything running. Or maybe from my other computer. Hold on, let me check that. One of the cool things I got set up now is I can have dual sound running through the same headphones. That was one of the cool things I got set up now with this with a fancy KVM switch. Nope, there's nothing running on that computer. So I don't know what you're talking about. it's on you, Yogi. Bossy, explain to us how the faction flag making workbench works in detail. I will just show you guys later when once we're done with this part. So, all right, let's get into this part. So we went into SS2 here. We're going to, what's the best way to do this? We're going to run this script. So I don't think I want to apply it to here. We can try it. We'll try what happens when I apply it to here. This part I'm a little sketchy on. So let's see, import. I don't remember the name of the script. And I also don't know if I actually have it set up on this computer. All right, give me a moment to find where that ended up. And actually, this is another tool I'm going to want to send you guys anyway. So give me a moment. All right, let's go back to our trusty Fallout standby while I work out some of these little details. My apologies for not having this prepared in advance. I thought I did have this all ready to go, but it turns out I do not. Let's see here. xEdit scripts. WFF. Okay, let's see if I have that installed. Okay, yes I do. It's just named something totally different than I thought it was. Okay, and I'm actually going to take this moment to update you guys. I'm going to get you an updated beta tool with the README included as well, so that you guys have that. So give me just a moment to get this set up for you. Another public beta here. All right, so I'm going to post you guys another file. It has that same beta tool inside of it, but in addition, it has the xEdit scripts you'll need, and it has the README. So any of you who, if I lose you or you want to run ahead, then you'll have access to this. So you don't have to wait for me. So here you guys go. This is the version that has the xEdit scripts, and I'll switch you guys back to see my screen now. That version I just uploaded, that link. Actually, let me make sure it is publicly shared. Share, make sure everyone can see it. Anyone with a link? Yep. Okay. So you guys should be able to use that. That will have the xEdit scripts. And what you do with those, you have to remember, not everybody knows this stuff. So after you have xEdit, so when you download xEdit, let me back up because I got to remember, not all of you guys have done any of this. So when you install xEdit, you literally just like extract this folder. So you're going to just get this folder. It's going to be called FO4Edit something.zip. Just extract it onto your computer. If you don't know how to do that, well, then we're probably in PC 101. Probably you need to go take a class somewhere to get that part. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory in the current version of Windows. So you're going to open this up. And in this folder that you get from FO4Edit, there's a folder called Edit Scripts. And you're going to take what you got out of this in-game design tool. So if we open this up, and we go to xEdit Scripts here, we're going to take these guys, and we're going to just drop them into our Edit Scripts folder. And then you'll be ready for this part. So in here, we're going to go in, and we're going to run that script. So we go right-click on SS2, hit Apply Script. And it is called, it's export. I thought it was called import, but it is called export. So we're going to go WSFW export to cell. It says to run it on a cell. So we're going to see what happens if I try and run it on the plugin, if it gets mad at me. Yeah, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like that I ran it on the plugin. So I think what we'll do is, can I create a new plugin right from within xEdit? Okay, then we're going to do a mild Creation Kit exercise as well. So those of you guys who've never used Creation Kit, I'm going to start this over. This is slow, but it's worth it, I think, to show you guys how to do this part. So let's go to, oh, we still have Skyrim Edit open. Okay, so we're going to launch the Creation Kit. So after you install the Creation Kit, which you can get from Steam, if you go into your Fallout 4 folder, or you can just do it right from Steam, you launch the Creation Kit. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Give it a moment. See, Creation Kit is notoriously slow. Everybody who uses it on the daily, most of us modders, we just leave it running all the time because it's so slow. All right, so for the sake of, for this first step, where all we're doing is getting our plugin set up, we're just going to load Fallout 4. It'll be slower if we load SS2 as well right now. So I'm going to just first load Fallout 4. So when this window comes up, this data screen, so if you get Creation Kit here, you're going to click this little open button. Double click Fallout so it checks it in. You have to double click for some reason. Click OK, and then let it load again. And while we're waiting for that, let me show you guys the xEdit part, just like the full thing, because I know xEdit is scary. So I'm going to go to FO4Edit on Nexus. Okay, so when you get to the FO4Edit page, which there's a link to it in the description of this video, you go to Files. You can hit Manual Download here. And download again. And then we will end up with a download file here. Sorry, I just realized I have tons of personal stuff in my recent history on my downloads, so I got to collapse all these. Give me a second. There we go. All right, so if we go right here, so you're going to get this FO4Edit file. Now, I did the same thing as they did, and I realized when I was talking about, hey, some people might not know about archives. They have done the same crime as I have, which is you have to use a program called 7-zip. So down the rabbit hole, you're going to install 40 apps tonight. It's fine. They're all safe. So we get to get all the links. So 7zip.org you're going to go to here as well. Really making this easy on you guys. I know that's how we love tutorials. So 7zip.org. You'll download this, install it. I obviously can't show you that step because I've already got it installed. So you'll download that, click run, let it install. Then you'll be able to open these files. So we'll extract this. So we'll extract to here. And then you'll go inside the FO4Edit folder. And then you'll see what I was showing you before where you have the edit scripts. And you'll copy those scripts that I gave you into there. And then you can just launch FO4Edit. The quick auto clean, if you're a newbie, you won't need to use it anytime soon. All right, there we go. So now Creation Kit's loaded. So you're gonna end up with a bunch of different windows. So I'm gonna shrink some of these down. One of the first windows you guys are gonna run into that's gonna irritate the hell out of you is the warnings window. This window looks like this. And you probably, as you were loading the CK, probably got a bunch of pop-ups where it warned you. Rather than trying to dismiss them, I just shrink it down real small and I just kind of stick it in the corner and never think about it again until I have a problem I don't know how to deal with, and then I go back to it. But most of the time, I just ignore this little guy. Because if you just try and close him, he's just going to keep coming back. So it's not worth fighting him. All right, then we've got a couple of other windows here. The layers we'll use later. The object window, you will probably only have one the first time you launch the CK. We'll use him later as well. And what we're looking for right now is cell view. What we're going to do down here is we're going to come down to cell view after we've loaded up the Fallout4.esm. And we're going to go ahead and make ourselves a new cell by duplicating this AAA markers. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate, and that creates AAA markers, copy 00. I'm going to go ahead and name this for myself. I'm going to leave the AAA so it stays up at the top here, and we're going to make this stream test import cell is what I'm going to name this. Doesn't really matter what you name it. It's just something unique that you can find later. So then I'm going to double click it, and that is going to load us up in this thing over here called the render window. And we're going to make this bigger. All right, to move around in the render window, you roll your mouse wheel up and down to zoom in and out. And that's all we're going to do right now. We're going to zoom way out, and then you're going to left drag, highlight all this stuff, and then hit the delete key on your keyboard to get rid of it. Now we have a nice empty cell to start with. All right, so now we're going to hit save. We're going to give our plugin a name. So we're going to go stream building test. And then we're going to close the Creation Kit, because in order for FO4Edit to mess with the plugin we just created, it can't be open in the Creation Kit. So we're going to go ahead and close that. And now we can go into FO4Edit and we will search up our new plugin we just made and double click it, and then we'll open it right up here. Just gets, yeah, boss, is getting more and more complicated. I know that's the problem with all of the, like, this is why I really like written tutorials, because then everything is very nicely structured. And, you know, like, for example, if you look at the very first tutorial, like the intro and the getting started, they're just telling you how to get your environment set up, because it's so derailing when you're trying to like watch a tutorial and it's like, oh, and by the way, you need to have this program. Oh, and by the way, you need to have this program. Like, that's a terrible way to go. This is why I prefer written tutorials. I think written tutorials are far superior. Definitely better than live tutorials. Live tutorials are the worst form of tutorial, but at least now you guys will have an opportunity to reference somebody doing it, and having seen it, maybe that will help draw some connection points to you if you're going through the written. I highly recommend the written though. Okay, so now we've got our stream building test, our cell. We're going to just expand all of these cells until we find our correct one. So here we go, stream test import cell. So when you load your plugin, you have all this information here. You're just going to keep hitting these plus signs next to it until you find the one you're looking for. There's our guy, stream test import cell. Then we're going to run here, go to apply script, and WSFW export to cell. And now here we go. It's going to come up and ask us to point to the log files that we just did. So we're going to find our stream building plan export level 1, hit open, and then we get to give it a layer name. So we're going to call this stream plan 01 level 1. And then we'll do it again. And this time we'll grab our level 2. Okay, and so now here we ran into the first warning where you guys should pay attention to this. So let's show that again. And if you get this, I'll show you how to resolve it. So we're going to go to our level 2 here. So this is telling us we're missing some files. So we used items from these two plugins, so we're going to want to load those in. So I'm going to just use my favorite little snipping tool. And then I have that, and then say no. And now we're going to save our file. And you guys get to learn more about xEdit. So go into FO4Edit. And then we're going to select none. And now I'm going to take the ones that it warned me about here and make sure I got them checked in. So let's see, we need Workshop 01. So let's check that in. And we need SS2. Oops, a framework. I checked in there. And then we'll find our other plugin again. So we'll search for that, stream building test. So notice the difference is I just click the boxes rather than double clicking. If you double click a plugin, it just loads that. If you click individual, you can load a bunch of them. So now we're going to load this up, and we'll get the other one. So if you used, you know, other DLC, if you used SS2 extended, etc., you might have more options, more things that you need to load up with your plugin so that it can import all those items. Because obviously, this script can't import items that aren't loaded. Because xEdit has no way to know about those if they're not loaded. That's what that warning is telling us. So I'm glad that Prop put that in there. All right, now we'll go to level 2 here, and this time we have the necessary plugin, so it didn't give us the warning. And we'll go stream plan 01 level 2. Okay, and now we have our 2 levels, and did I type them correctly? It does appear so. All right, and if we were to look in here, you can see there's all these placed objects. So now doing more than this right at this stage is useless in xEdit. We will be back here later, but right now that's enough for here. So we're gonna go back to the Creation Kit. And you'll kind of swap back and forth because the Creation Kit is fantastic for visual stuff, and the xEdit is better for things where you can run a script. So we have that script, and then there's another script that does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Anybody who has made plans for both SS1 and SS2 will tell you what a godsend xEdit is in this workflow. Because in SS1, it was there are tutorial videos up on my channel about how to make building plans for SS1, and it's pretty tough. All right, so let's go into our stream building test plugin. So just like before, I showed you had to double click fallout4.esm. Now we're going to do it to our plugin instead. But there's one extra step. When you're loading your own plugins, like your .esp files, you have to click set active file. And the reason for that is whenever you're making changes, it needs to know where it's going to save those to, and that's the active file. Because I could load as many plugins as I want right now. Now the nice thing is because we loaded those other ones in xEdit, you can see it added them as parent masters here in the Creation Kit. So these will now load automatically. I don't need to keep going back and manually loading up DLC Workshop 01 or SS2. The same is the case for the next time I load it in FO4Edit. I won't have to keep figuring out which plugins. The only reason I had to do that the first time is because I wasn't sure which plugins I was using, and Pros script, the WSFW export to cell, that is capable of scanning all the items that you tried to import and tell you which plugins that you're missing. So that makes it easier after the fact. So just the first time, that little extra bit. All right, I'm going to go to questions now while we wait for this to load. Mod 142, any plans for a mod school video on stopping the rain coming through roofs? I mean, I'm not even entirely sure how to get rain to stop coming through roofs. So technically the way the rain is supposed to be stopped is just from collision, but it is not consistent at all. Any of you who have played much in HQ can attest to that. Even places where we have permanent roofs, you know, not like the areas, the main atrium and like the back foyer where they have holes in the glass, like that was intentionally left rainy, but there's like a couple of spots in the hallway where it's rainy, even though we have completely sealed everything. So I don't know the answer to that, Mod Hunter, so I cannot make such a video. Bossy, could you not just load everything and not just the certain DLC mods, whatever you used? You could, but the more plugins you load, the slower all this software runs. And as you can see, Creation Kit not particularly fast. So it's up to you. You can definitely just load up everything to avoid having to go back in. Because like when you first load FO4Edit, it probably will default select your entire load order. So you are correct, you could do that and then just check in your plugin. So that would probably be an easy way to make sure you have everything. And then it should only parent the things you need. So that's a great idea, actually, Bossy. So what Bossy's suggesting is instead of individually selecting plugins or working with this snipping tool and trying to remember them all, the first time you launch FO4Edit, it loads and checks in your entire load order. So you could just come down and add a check mark to your new plugin and hit OK, and it would load all that stuff in. And then when you ran the script, it would add the parented masters that it needed. So that's actually a really good play. That's a good idea. So there we go. We got an improvement for the eventual text version of this tutorial. Let's see. George Cavazos, I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I'm positive I did. Will you go over creating specific themed... I can't read a word because Bethesda. I'm blaming Bethesda for everything. YouTube has decided that they wanted to put a little icon over the top of chat. Let's see, specific themed assets and not just plots, or is DLC and vanilla assets the only things available to work with? It's basically whatever is in the CK is available to work with. So right now we're just going over how to make building plans because that's what the game jam is going to be this weekend. So now we've got in here, if we go into our AAA stream test import cell, if we double click there, you're going to see, ta-da, there is our level 2 building plan. Now, let me start over. I want to show you guys how to navigate this because some of you guys have never done this. So let's go click off to a different cell, go back to this one. So when you first enter a cell in the CK, you're in this like weird, awful view. So I'm going to first zoom out with my mouse wheel to get far enough back. Then I'm going to use the middle mouse button, and that lets me move my camera. You might think that I'm moving all these items, but I'm moving my camera. So it's kind of like if you were in the game, like this is moving your character, not all these items. So I'm moving around here. Then if I hold shift and just move the mouse without touching any buttons, shift and move the mouse, I rotate my guy. So you can imagine that as like moving your mouse in first person view. So if you're playing on controller using your right thumbstick and moving it around, or is it, let me think. Yeah, right thumbstick to move around. That's kind of what holding shift and moving your mouse does. And then if you click on something and hold shift and move your mouse, this is the best way, then it rotates you around that thing. So you're kind of anchored to it. So it makes it a little easier to figure out where the heck you are. And then if you start having trouble where you get lost, you can push like T to bring your camera back on top of whatever you have selected. If you don't have anything selected, you can come over to cell view here, click something, then come back to render window, hit T. That's a good way to get back if you get lost, because it's very easy when you're experimenting with the camera to just get lost in the shuffle here. But honestly, you don't even need to mess around in this view that much. There's only a couple things we need to do here. So I am going to pause at some point with my freewheeling on the explanation to go to the documentation, because I don't want to lead you guys wrong. So right now I'm just going with the stuff that I'm positive on. So the first thing we're going to do here is go to our layers panel, and we're going to hide level 2 because we want to work with one layer at a time. So there we go. We can see our level 1 building that we designed in game. And if I click on an item and I hit the number 1 twice, it will hide it. So we can start clicking items, hiding them, and seeing what's hidden inside here. You can see that there's our little bed. There's our, what do they call that thing? Whatever that thing is, the dresser type thing. And then our little airplane seat. So we've got all of our items here. And if we want to unhide everything, we hold Alt, push 1 again, and that unhides everything. So now we can see all of our items. So now we're going to place a new item. So if you come into your object window here, this is where you find items. So you are going to learn how to do place one item, but you don't actually have to do it correctly. So this is a nice little thing. So we're going to search for static and then asterisk pivot, because I don't know the exact name. There it is. Static collection pivot dummy. So what we're going to, okay, so now we're going to go click the A under level 1. So what that does is it makes it so whatever I place next goes on to that particular layer. So we check, just click right under there under the A column and adds a little A. Then we're going to grab this guy and drag it onto the title bar. So if you drop something on the title bar of the render window, it puts it right in the very center of the cell. And so if we I'm going to shift under here, you can see that there's this new like blue cross thing here. And this is a useful little bit. It basically tells the game where the center of your model is. And since we're going to turn this into a building model, we want to make sure that the center of this lines up with the center of the plot, right? And so all of these items, that script makes it so that these are going to line up perfectly with the plot. So we just need this little guy so that the game understands it too. So, and then we're going to do the same thing for level 2. We're going to go ahead and switch these. So we're going to make level 2, and we're going to just drag this onto the title bar here. Oop. And then we zoom under here. You can see there's our little blue crossy thing. All right. So now we're going to do something. We need to create what are called static collections. So we're going to go ahead and go to our level 1 again, and we're going to right click and hit select all loaded references and layer. And you can see it will select everything. All right. Then we're going to right click here, and we're going to hit make static collection, and it's going to tell you about all the things that can't be in your building model. And that's fine. These are going to be our decorative items. Those are going to be the items that we put that spawn in separately. So if you're familiar playing some settlements, usually you get the structure appears and then all the items start popping in, and that's fine. So we're going to hit create collection without these references, and then we're going to give it a name. So we're going to go stream plan 01 level 1 building. And when you get this input object filter, you can just hit OK to it. You can kind of ignore it. And now I have to see who hooked us up with the wonderful the Ron noise. Dope Diva 88. Thank you for the subscribe. All right, so now we've got our first static collection set up. So let's go ahead and do the same for level 2. So we'll unhide that. We're going to make that active. Right click, select all loaded references. Right click, make static collection. And without these references, and then OK. And then, did it finish? Did it finish? Does not appear to have finished. Let's try that again. All right. Make static collection without these references. Oh, I forgot the name. I just hit OK to that instead of giving it a name. Sorry. So let's go here. Copy and paste this. Stream plan let's see, 01 level 2 building. Okay. Okay. I hit OK to the first one instead of the second one. So the first one, you got to enter the name. Second one, you OK. There it is. There's our building. Now, I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're in good shape. Now, if you got a crash there, that means something you used did not support being here. This is where you're going to want to get support. So I'm now going to teach you guys how you can get onto a support server. So first up, we have the We Are Builders Discord, which I'm sure one of those guys there would be happy to link. I will have it it's in the description of the announcement video for the game jam, and I will have it in the announcement of the the theme on Friday nights. Also on our forums, you can find that. That's going to be the easiest way to get into a Discord to get support. And then for those of you guys who read stuff and you like tutorials reading, when you're reading through this series, eventually you will find hidden in there a secret way you can get access to our developer server. And we intentionally hide that because we only want people who are willing to read things on our server, because we keep it super chill in there. Seems dead some days with how chill it is, because it's basically just developers and people working on add-on packs. So if you want to get access to that, read through the tutorials. But otherwise, We Are Builders is way more welcoming, and are happy to have everybody there, and they can help you guys out with that stuff. I don't think most of you are going to crash doing this unless you get into really weird items. Usually it's going to be mod added items. Like there might be some things that you find that were created in a certain way that could cause problems, but I think most of you guys will be fine. As you can see, we created these without any problem. So if you get a crash trying to create the static collection, there are solutions to it, and a lot of people experienced in helping you solve that. So, but it's a kind of case-by-case basis. It just means one of the items that you placed here, even though it's static, it has like some funky collision. So, all right. So next step, we're going to go to our buildings here, and we're going to open them up. So, since we got to name them there, and we were already under static because we needed to get that pivot dummy, right? So we're going to search here for part of the name of our building, and we're going to double click it, and that's going to bring up this little screen, and you can see we've got a little preview of our model. So you can see our model doesn't have like the couch and everything, right? Because this is just the static, the stuff that the only way you can interact with it really is to shoot it or try and run into it. So to get the lighting to change like that, I just hit the letter A while I'm clicking on here, and that shows you like a preview of lit versus kind of unlit and crappy looking. You can also push M, and then you got to be patient because hitting M takes a minute. M will hide all these like little marker bits. Those are things that are meant to show up while you're working in the editor. Obviously, you don't want those to show up in the game. Okay, I think I crashed the preview by hitting M while in that screen. Irrelevant. So we're going to go ahead and hit here. All we need to really do on this screen is hit recreate NIF from data. And now it's going to put it here. So we're going to go into this place. So this little path, we can select all this and copy it. And we're going to go into our Fallout 4 folder. We're going to go into data and then meshes. And then if we paste all this in here, oops, we're going to add a little slash, paste all this in. And I'm actually going to delete out this NIF folder because I don't want it here. Okay, there we go. So we're going to navigate to that. So you can go to data meshes and then SCOL. There should be a folder called that. And inside of there, you will see the game creates, or the CK creates a folder named after your plugin file. And we're going to take this out of here. So we're going to grab this. I'm going to Control X to cut it. I'm going to go into meshes. I'm going to create myself a new folder here. I want this up here. I don't want this in that skull folder. You could leave it in there. It's not the end of the world, but I just prefer to move it. So I'm going to go stream. We'll go stream plans. That way, if I decide to put multiple in this plugin, I can. And then we'll put plan 01. You don't have to. You can get as organized or as disorganized as you want. The only thing that matters is you're under the meshes folder, because that is the only place the game will look for meshes. And then I'm going to rename this guy to level 1. Then we're going to go to level 2 building, recreate NIF from data. And I'll go back to that folder. So we'll just hit back a few times. Here it is. And then Control X to cut him out of there. Paste him in, and then we'll name him level 2. Now there are some more steps with these, which I'll show you guys later, some extra steps you can do to make the buildings work better, but these will work as is. But like things like navigation and stuff become an issue without one more step, but we'll show you that in a little bit here. Okay, so now we've got our models created. So the next thing we need to do is we need to convert all of our little individual items into a way that the game, or that our next step can read them. So we're going to go to our level 1 here. So we made it. So we're basically toggling the vision with this little eyeball. So we're just hiding everything else. And we're going to grab our building and hit that 1-1 to hide it. So now all we've got left are all the other things. These are our what we call stage items. These are like the little bits that get spawned separately, because we want the player to be able to interact with them, right? We want them, if they were part of the structure, they would be uninteractive, but we want the player to be able to open the door. We want NPCs to be able to sleep on the bed. We want the player to be able to loot the containers, all that stuff. So we're going to select all these. So we can just drag a box around them to select them. And then we're going to go to File, Import, Export, Export Ref Placements for Selection. And now we're going to go ahead and give this a name. So we're going to go ahead and do stream plan 01 level 1 stage items is what I'll call it. All right, I'll repeat for stage 2, so I'll hide all this stuff. We don't have to do the A every time. That's just a good habit, so you know where you're going to put stuff. I'm going to hide the building, grab all this stuff, and we're going to go import, export, rough placements for selection, and I'm going to sort this so I can get the exact same name except level 2. Okay, so now we basically just created these spreadsheets that the next step we'll use. So I believe that should cover us for this. There is a chance we have to load back in the CK. Let me check the guide real quick just to make sure I am not going to waste too much time here. So the first building plan it has us do is a skin, which we're not going to do. We're actually going right to building plans. Let's go to your first building model. I'm just skimming this because I've done this a million times over the years. Just making sure I'm not missing any steps here. We'll probably go through after we're done getting our first one working. Not only will I answer your guys' questions individually and go over stuff, but we might just, like, after we're done with that core first run through, we might just start going step by step through this tutorial so you guys can kind of see the steps as they happen. And it'll be a good opportunity for me to fix any bugs in the wiki with how these are set up. So let's scroll through here, recreate NIF, basic building plan. Oh, that's interesting. So I actually have you guys go through and do it the hard way. The nice thing about when you do something the hard way the first time, then when you come back and do it the easy way with the script, you start understanding how important that script is and how much better it is for everything. So, okay, so this method in here doesn't show that. So we're going to just go ahead and go do, what's the easy method now? So we're going to close out of the CK because we're going to be loading into xEdit again, and you always have to have it closed in the other one or you won't be able to save. So we need to do one more step before we get to there. So we're going to go into our Fallout 4 folder, which is where it exported these two files. So there's our level 1 and level 2 stage items. So now here you're going to need a piece of spreadsheet software. So OpenOffice is a good one. It's free. Get you guys a link here. I assume most of you though probably have like either OpenOffice installed or Windows comes with like a version of Office installed. So you just need to basically get into Excel. But OpenOffice.org is a free version. Has pretty much, it's not as good as Microsoft stuff, but it's free. I personally have used it just as kind of a spite to Microsoft. I just really don't want to pay for Office on all my computers, so I really like this. So we're going to go ahead and right click on one of these. Actually, let's not do right click because you guys won't necessarily have that. So let's open OpenOffice. OpenOffice Calc is what it's called. You guys could use Excel instead. The steps are roughly the same in Excel. And we're going to go to File. Actually, I'm going to do this off screen because I have no idea where this is going to open. I'll come back. I'll bring it back on screen once I'm sure I'm in the right directory. And you're going to navigate to your Fallout 4 directory, which is by default is under C program files. Going down, Steam apps. Where's it go? Common, and then your folder. So what I like to do, because that is obnoxious to have to go through every time, is I will, once I get here, so if I'm in this folder, so I'm in Fallout 4 here, I'm going to right click this and hit send to desktop, and that'll create a shortcut there. And what's the cool thing is when you're in these kind of open windows, you can actually go to your desktop and double click a shortcut, and boom, you're right there. So like I highly recommend that. Next time you find your Fallout 4 directory, send it to your desktop to get a shortcut. And then you can just double click the shortcut even from these open windows. So we're going to go ahead and hit our level 1 stage items and hit open. And you're going to get this filter options here, and we don't care about this right now. We're going to hit OK. Oops, it opened it up in OpenOffice Calc. So give me a second. I got to remember how we do this in, let's see. So I opened, is it import? Let's try that again. I'm trying to remember how we open this as a CSV file. So the way I usually do it a different way, but I don't know if you guys are gonna have access to the right click menu. So I'm trying to make sure this is a way that everybody can do it without having to know anything else. So give me a second while I remember how to do this. So we're gonna go here. This has got to be it. But it keeps wanting to open it up in. Okay. I will find out for you guys in a moment, but I'm going to just, to keep us moving, to get the first example, I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to go with right click and hit open with OpenOffice Calc. And that brings up this text import. So that text import might actually be the clue I need to figure it out. So those spreadsheets those files that you exported from the Creation Kit, they're what we call tab delimited text, which is just a fancy way of saying that all the information you need is separated by tabs. So we just check in separated by tab, hit OK. And we get this little guy here. And from here, there is an extra step we can do with this column, but we're not going to mess with that. All we really need to do is we need to save this out as a proper CSV. So we're going to go here under text CSV. I'm going to hit check in edit filter settings and then just click save. Keep current format and just hit OK. The filter settings is necessary for some reason. I don't know why. I assume it has something to do with keeping with the tabs versus the commas or something. I'm not sure what it is, but that seems to be necessary. So now we're done with this one. So let's try and see if I can figure out that file import text thing now. So we're going to go to new spreadsheet. Trying to find that import thing so I can show you guys how you would do it without the right click menu. Insert. Is this our guy? Sheet from file? No, I don't think so. Text import. Let me look that up real quick because I want you guys to have a easy way to do this. Text import, OpenOffice Calc. Data. Is that where it is? Let's try, we'll try it this way. We'll try the insert sheet from file and we'll grab our stage 2. Hey, there we go. That works. Okay, so that's the way you can do it. So from when you open OpenOffice Calc, you can go insert sheet from file, navigate to your text file, and that also works. And then again, same thing, save as. We want to save it as a CSV file. Is here, text CSV, and we want it to be our level 2, and we're going to check in edit filter settings, keep current format, okay, and that's fine. We only want this current sheet. Okay, now we close this. All right, now we have our data is ready to go, so we can create our building plan. So we're going to go ahead and hop into FO4Edit, and we're going to open up our building test again. All right, so now we're going to expand this here, and we are going to go to Apply Script. And this time, you guys are going to need some more scripts. I actually should get those for you. So let's do that. Let's go to the Builder's Toolkit thing. So if you were to go to the guided series here, my assumption is I have a link here as well. But if not, I will show you where it is on our. Okay, download the version of F4 here. Here we go. So it's pointing a link to the Add-on Makers Toolkit, which should be linked in the description of the video, but I will go ahead and post this in chat as well. So here is the Add-on Makers Toolkit. And if we download this guy, and then we'll go into our downloads folder again. And we'll go to the Add-on Makers Toolkit here. And if you go into xEdit scripts, there are three things you need. You need right here the PIS files and the SS2 folder, and you're going to paste those right in here. So I have that already, so we're going to go to Apply Script, and we're going to go up to the SS2 section, which will be up at the top. If you don't see it, make sure you check in Include Scripts from Subfolders. And we are going to grab, I can't remember which one it is here, SS2, import stage data. Here we go. All right. And now I know I'm skipping a step, so we should pause and take care of that. Let's see, what is the best way to do this one? All right, give me a second. Let me go back to our toolkit here. Trying to find the xEdit tutorial because it has a little template we can use to make this next step a little faster. And again, one of the reasons that I'm going to go back through and go through the structured tutorial series is because I know that me live streaming this is kind of all over the place. So the idea of you guys following along or trying to copy this is obviously difficult. So I want to go through something structured with you next so that you guys can see that there's a method to the madness and it's not just me frantically trying to remember all these things right now. Let's see here. I'm trying to find, does anybody remember where the, who's done this before, remember where the tutorial is for the xEdit portion? Import, I wonder if we do it in here. There's the exporting stage items. Oh yeah, and there's all this stuff that we just did. Okay, so it does, okay, so cool. So I do have you guys go through it right in the first tutorials. I was worried I was making you guys go through the entire process without that. Okay, that's okay. We'll just do this. The one part there's another part we can do with a spreadsheet as well, but it doesn't take that long. Just do it manually. So we're just going to go ahead and import stage data. We'll hit OK. And now it's going to ask you something. What do you want to import? Do you want to do a building plan, a single level plan, a skin? There's all these different things you can do. We're just going to do a building plan. So we'll hit OK. That should be the default. All right, now this is where you get to plug in the kind of things that show up in the game for the player. So we get to name our building plan. So we're going to just call this stream test plan. Editor ID, this is just basically, you could basically do the same thing. The editor ID is what you search for in the creation kit. So you know how when we were searching up the static collection, or if we wanted to search up that pivot dummy, we had to type in something. That's what this is. It's very similar to the name, except it can't have spaces, and it has to be totally unique. So we will just call this, let's see, I'll do ST as my prefix for for stream test, and then we'll go building plan 01. All right, now we're gonna choose what it's for. It's for residential, 2x2. Yeah, we'll make it a single person. Here's where you can select some themes if you want. So ours, what did we use? We did some wood. And let's see, any of these themes apply? Not really. It is lore friendly because we didn't use anything funky. So I think that covers it. So there's not a ton. Lore friendly is probably the most common one. And then if any of these other things, you can pick what kind of materials or themes that it would fit with. These are for players who use the filtering system in the base game to pick out certain plans. This is useful for them. Go ahead and hit OK. We'll give it a description. Simple house for one. Confirmation message we don't actually need. You can see here it's generate from name and description. So the confirmation is if you're playing in game and you select like a building class or you select a bunch of plans, and then the player is asked, you know, are you sure you want this one? That's what confirmation message is. It can generate one for you automatically if you leave this checked in, or if you uncheck this, you can manually type in your confirmation message. All right, and then our occupants for level, we're just going to say 1. We're going to say yes to register building plan. Yeah, set up building previews for us, sure. Yep, set up stack moving for us. We want all of this because it's our first building plan. We definitely want this. You guys probably will want to do that every time. I definitely want to do it right now. We're going to click on this ... next to stage items file. And then we're going to navigate back to our Fallout 4 directory. So I'm going to use my little trick with the desktop, to Fallout 4 here. And you can see there's our 2 CSVs. Don't recommend just piling them all up in your Fallout 4 folder. Maybe you want to make a subdirectory for them or something, but this will work for now. Oh, you know what? I did miss a step. We're supposed to combine all of these into one document. So this is why we're going to go through this tutorial a little bit. So that I can show you guys how to do this part. But we'll go ahead and just do it real quick. So we will cancel here. We can leave this running. This is fine. So let's load up this guy into our CSV file in here. Oops. Let's try that again. Load this up. So here's one thing you'll notice. So our default settings was separated by tab, but a CSV file is separated by a comma. So we have to switch that over now while we load our final file. Then we're going to load up this guy. Same way. And we're just going to grab all this stuff here. So we don't need the header row, but we're going to grab all this other stuff and copy it. And we're going to paste it under here. Now I'm going to remember where I'm at. I'm going to put a little 2 there, and I'll put a 1 here and 2 here. And that's basically you're telling the script that we're about to use what level these are for. So you can imagine this is a level column. We can even add that label in if we want. And then we'll go ahead and save as stream plan, and we'll just call this all stage items. And edit filter settings, save, keep current format. Okay. All right, now let's pop in here. We'll go back to that. We'll go to our desktop, navigate to Fallout 4 and all stage items. All right. And it really wants a model file, huh? I guess this is a new version of the script where it has to have the model files. In the old version, you did not need that. So that's interesting. So that's a point I got to update on this tutorial, because if you look over in here, the test is doing it without the model file. So the script has evolved since then. So let me put that in my notes so that we can take care of that later. Give me a moment. And we will make one of those in just a moment. This is likely something you only need it for a new building plan. I imagine for existing building plans, it's you don't actually need this, but that's okay. For new plans. All right, got that in my notes so I can update the tutorial later. All right, let's go ahead and create one of these. I want to find the template for it, because we have a template so that I don't do it incorrectly. So give me a moment. I am going to switch over to our lovely standby while I dig around deep on my computer and find out where these guys are hiding. It actually might be in the add-on toolkit. Spreadsheet templates, building models template. Yep, it is. Okay, cool. Back to scene. Okay, so in the add-on toolkit, at the top level, there's a spreadsheet templates. So we're going to open up this building models template and go ahead and open this up. And we are going to type in the names in here. We can get rid of a lot of the stuff. These are the editor IDs for those static models that we created. Okay, and I just realized we skipped another step. Damn it, this is why we should have went through the tutorial. I skipped another step, guys. I skipped another step. All right, we're gonna close out of this. I was so sure. I was like, I'm gonna remember all these things. It's like riding a bike. It's gonna come back to me. It did not. All right, once we get this started, I will go back to answer questions for folks who I've got some for me here. But basically, all we're going to be doing in this thing is you set up a list of the models for the building that we started to set up, where we did the little static collections. Now, the reason there's so many entries here is, if you're familiar with the way it works in game, you can have the little different building stages, so it looks like it's building slowly over time. That's actually all just swapping of models, so you actually build out each of those individual models, but they're totally optional. You don't actually need them. So let's load this into the CK. We missed a step with the meshes, which I'll show you guys now. All right, let's scroll up here. Kenneth Creason, I can't get Gunner's daughter to trigger even after taking back everything I lost and all isolated listed territories from the guide. I cannot help you with that right now. I am not sure what's causing that, but I would, if you haven't been to the forums already, I would head there at simsettlements.com. See if somebody has an obvious solution for you. If not, likely somebody will tell you like a console command, or say just go ahead and use the skip holotape option to get past that. But that is a tough problem to solve. It doesn't seem to be easily repeatable either. We're not really sure what causes that, but one day we'll get it. One day we'll get it permanently resolved for everybody. I don't know exactly why it happens for some folks. Chaotic New Thrall. There's an xEdit tut in the add-on beta. I'm sure about another one. Yeah. Okay. Good. It looks like it does need to be updated though, because the tutorial does not take into account. I think the reason is I'm betting that we're applying this script on top of a plan we created earlier in the tutorial series, and like that's probably why it's not. It didn't run into the issue in the tutorial, but. It's good to know. It's good to know that if you are doing a plan from scratch, you got to have the model sheet as well. Okay, so here's the step we missed. So if we go into our meshes folder, you guys remember that we went ahead and created these things, right? We had these NIF files. So what we missed is we actually need to get these turned into regular static. So if we search these up, we've got our stream plans. We have these static collections. Technically, we can use them, but it's not ideal. You generally want to be using these NIF files. Whoop. All right, so let's go to, nope, that is not the right CK. We want this CK. All right, so there's a trick you can actually do when you have a certain type selected. So we have world object static selected. We can actually drag these NIFs right in here, and it will create them. So if we search up level 1, you can see there is our mesh file. It gets named exactly the same, so that could be an argument for naming your NIF files way more advanced. But we're going to go ahead and put this into, we're going to change the name of this guy to add SCOL at the end, so I remember the difference. Because remember I told you guys that editor IDs have to be completely unique. So we'll go ahead and steal that name. And we want to say, no, we're not going to create a new object. We just want to rename it and then confirm that we're renaming it. Yes, there's our level 1 plan. And then we'll go ahead and drag a level 2 in here. And let's rename our static collection with a little SCOL at the end. And there's our level 2 building. And once again, no, we don't want to create a new one. Yes, we want to create that. So now if we were to open up any of these little things I just created, so let's go to stream plan. So you can see we have the green ones and the blue ones. The green ones are those static collections. These are made up of a bunch of different pieces, and they can be exploded apart again. And then these meshes, the static ones, are just made of one single piece. So these are more performant. So that is really the only difference. Okay, so now what we're going to do, now that we've got these created correctly, well, let's save. And we need to make, so we made our stage items. We made our stage items spreadsheet. We also need one for the models. So for the models, this little template was basically saying, like, this is what we call level 0, or the building materials. These are what show up as soon as the players, or as soon as your building plan is selected, but before it starts building, it gets this stuff placed. Then this is the level 1 row, level 2 row, level 3 row. So what you do is take the editor ID and you plug it in here. Now the reason that there are, oh, this is read only. I need to save a copy of it. So we will go into our Fallout 4 directory. We'll just put it next to the stream plan here. So we'll do this all stage models. There we go. Now we can edit it because we were operating out of a zip file. So we'll go ahead and paste in. Oops, I hit Control B instead of V. So now it's bolted. All right, there we go. So we've got our level 1 building plan. We don't need these because we're not doing any other stages. So if we were doing multiple stages, say we wanted it to be, like for example, let's look at this guy. Let's say we wanted the first stage to be just the door frame, and then stage 2 adds the wall, and stage 3 adds that. You would have to create, a different SCOL, a static collection for each of those. And you can use the static collections nicely for the stages. We'll get into that later. It's not important right now, other than to say that that is why there's multiple entries here. For each stage of construction you'd want, you would just add it in here. So like whatever's here would be stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and you can go on to 128 if you want to get crazy. And then your last one should be your blue one, your blue final building. So then we're going to go ahead and grab our level 2. We'll close this out. And we'll make that as our level 2. And delete all this, delete all this, delete all this, delete this. And what we're going to do, since we don't have a model for level 3, we're just going to use level 2 again. So now this spreadsheet is done. Save it, close the creation kit. And hopefully I didn't miss another step. All right, let's try this again. Stream building test. Uh-oh, I lost chat. Where'd you go? Where'd you guys go? There it is. Already been to forums. Yeah, I wish I could help you more. I would say your best bet, you're probably going to want to just use the cheat holotape and skip the quest. Skip to it. I couldn't tell you why it's not why it's not starting for you. Could be a conflict is preventing the quest from starting, which you'll find out if you try and use the cheat holotape to skip and it still doesn't start. Yeah, it's really hard to say. Unfortunately, like those are really hard to test because it depends on how many mods you have. First of all, like if you're playing a minimal load order, like if all you've got is creation club content or something, like we could just test your save file. But if you're running a full load order, it could be anything. Especially because that's so deep into the story, it's really hard to judge what possibly could have gone wrong. Okay, getting back to this, let's go back to where we were. Apply script, import stage data. We get to do all this stuff again. Why did that terminate? Oh, I got to run it on the header. Don't be like King Gath. Don't run it on the file name. Run it on the header. Entire building plan, stream test plan, and we went with stream test as our thing. So we'll go building plan 01. Our prefix is ST, and the prefix is because this is going to generate a whole bunch of other things in the plugin, and they'll all have this prefix. It just makes it easier to search. So when you're trying to find stuff that is in your file, you can just search for that. That's why we have that. And then 2x2, we want it to be a single person. We'll go to our themes. We'll select lore friendly and wood. Give our description, simple, home for 1. Occupants per level is 1 across the board. We're going to check all these in. And now we get to go to our stage models and our stage items. And interestingly, the stage items is the one that's optional, not the model. That's pretty funny. All right, so let's go ahead and hit start. And if you watch on the left here, look at all this stuff that just appeared. We got constructible objects, we got a global, form ID, all this forms that you used to have to create manually. And some of them there's a lot of. Like if we go to misc items, there's a whole bunch. Weapon, there's a few. You used to have to create all these forms manually until we got this xEdit script. So this thing is a damn lifesaver. All right, so then that's done. So you just had to fill out that simple form. Hit OK. So you can see like none of this stuff is hard. It's just a bunch of like little steps. And like the vast majority of your time, and that like, you know, I fumbled around with that because I haven't done it in years because there's everybody else on the team who's a designer does the building plan work now. But you can imagine that gets really fast. It gets very rote. And now it's time to test it in game. So we're going to go, now I go old school. I just load plugins by adding them to my plugins.txt file. You guys should just use your mod manager, and you will be able to just tell it to load your plugin. So you can just go to your mod manager, hit add mod, and direct it to your new ESP file, or at least you should be able to. Could be also your mod manager will just detect it automatically. You just check it in. I quit using mod managers years ago because they were causing me a lot of hassle. they're great, but they can be very irritating with the way my dev environment is set up, because I have to swap between alpha tests and beta tests and live versions so that I can play on streams. So like the profile system of most mod managers causes me more grief than it does most of you. So don't mind me. You should not have to ever type in your plugin names manually like that. All right, let's head into the game and see if we can get this to load. Now, I will say there is a known Sims Elements 2 bug that has been there for ages that I've never been able to figure out, that occasionally when you load a new add-on package, stuff won't show up immediately. So we're going to work around that, and I'll show you how to work around that too. So if you're having an issue like this, that you can quickly test better. So let's find a save. Let's go with, we'll go to this one. Yeah, that should be fine. So we're going to, I'm going to show you how to deal with that issue if you run into it. For the sake of testing, I promise you we will fix that bug eventually. It's likely just, I've got to get a second pair of eyes on the code. I got to ask CBR or PRA or somebody who knows enough of the code to roughly know what's going on and dig in and see what mistake that I made for the add-on pack registration. All right, here we go. Oh, I got a radio on apparently. Yeah, that's okay. Workshop framework. Classical radio. All right, so let's go to, we can just use this one. So it'll take just a moment for our quest to start up. I think I know what it's named. You don't have to do this step. I'm just testing something. ST add-on pack, I guess it would be called. No, I don't actually know what the quest gets named. All right, so we're going to go to here, choose building plan, and we'll see if our test building plan shows up. And if not, sometimes it can be a matter of you just got to be patient, give it a minute or two, which is what we'll do next. Nope, there it is. Stream test plan shows up right away. Okay, so I'll show you guys what to do if this doesn't happen. And you can see also another thing that we like to do in our stuff on and I think we recommend this in the tutorials too, is to give yourself a prefix that your add-on pack will be known as and put it in the brackets like that so that yours sorts just like everybody else's. So we have the ones that are in SS2 with SS2. So I didn't do that. I didn't come up with one, but you just, use your initials or something or create something so that they sort correctly. You don't have to, but it'll just make it look neater. So we'll go ahead and grab our stream test plan, hit accept. This will explode. Bye, Nick. I should make it ragdoll and knock people out. That would be kind of funny. You're not going to work for me? Do we have a broken? Nope, there it goes. Just a little delay. And then it'll clean up all those floaty items. We'll pay the cost. Come on, SS2. Don't embarrass me now. Clean up your items. Clean up after yourself. Actually, I actually don't know if anyone's assigned to this plot. Nope. Let's see. Let's find ourselves a victim. I mean a settler. What the heck are all our people? Mama Murphy, you're going to move into our new fancy house. Ah, there it goes. It cleaned up everything. I'm guessing there's all sorts of script stuff going on because I have a beta version of the 3.30 patch installed right now, and it's probably updating this save. So, speaking of which, I will be putting out a public beta for that patch because it is so massive, and I am with the changes under the hood. It's going to feel like relatively small patch notes for how big a deal I'm going to make out of this patch, but it was a massive undertaking to get the code working. So you can see it immediately spawned in all of the stage items. And then it's going to, I wonder if I set those up incorrectly. I wonder if I accidentally set these up incorrectly. I don't think so, but while we wait for that, I'm going to tab out and I'm going to check the tutorial and see if I was supposed to put them at a different number. So, looks like, we just put in level 1 for all of these. Do the number 1. Yeah, I don't think I had to do anything special for that. So, All right, well, all of our, you can see our items appropriately appeared, and now we got to wait for the timer for our actual structure to appear. It's interesting to me that the items appeared immediately. Usually they don't come until after the structure. That's why I said I'm curious. I wonder if I made a mistake somewhere. And there are more steps in this. This is just like me showing you guys the basics. But this is these steps will be enough for you to enter into the contest. So like there are a lot of other steps you can do to your building plan to make it more perfect, to make it easier for the NPCs to navigate, and you can make it support holidays and all that. But this will basically work. So there we go. So now we've got a functioning house here. If we look, I didn't pay attention to what our beds was before, but we have our bed here, and you'll notice that like I can't. Actually, I guess I can select them because we added the scrap thing. We can individually scrap the things. I was going to say that you can see these are actually items for it, but yeah, we added them in the scrap list. So don't mind me getting confused there. I was going to say, notice you can't scrap these things, but you can because we intentionally did that. I forgot that we added that feature. All right, so this is a functioning building plan now. The bed will count, and if we upgrade this, which we can cheat to do, or if we let them do it naturally, I believe it is. I think CF unlock level still works in SS2, right? Okay. There we go. And there goes our level 2, and it's going to start spawning its items. Now we're going to talk about those blue men in a second. But you can see there's our things. You can see the scale that we did with Place Everywhere kept. We've got all of our items. All right, now with the blue men, so the blue men are actually designed so that they will hide when you exit workshop mode. They were not designed to be used with building plans, but I'll show you guys a way around that. So like you can see they disappear, and now it'll be fine. For most players, they will have this setting. Let me find it for you to show you. They will have this setting disabled. And I probably do too in this save, now that I think about it. But it's controlled by workshop framework. And let me find what it is. Auto show invisible objects will be off by default. So you can see when I went back into workshop mode, the blue man didn't reappear. But he was there initially when it was spawned by the plot, because the plot doesn't know how to handle those. So it just places them like any other item. But as soon as the player enters and exit workshop mode, they will go away forever. And now there's just an animation marker there for that settler to use. So, and that's fine. That's totally fine. It's ideally you can swap them over to the version that doesn't have the blue man involved, and I can show you guys how to do that, but it's not important. But you can see, there we go. We're able to take our entire design work from in the game, bring it into the CK, and then manipulate some spreadsheets to get it into the game. And we've got a building plan. So that is the power of the new like building cell we have, and this export workflow and import into xEdit. Like I said, we ran into a little problem because I didn't remember how to do this. But I think what we might do next is I'll try and go through the whole process from scratch, because it would be nice if we could like make a clip from this stream to be like, here's all you have to do, without me fumbling around. But for now, I will answer questions about this. Nick Carter, will there be any benefits for those of us who have HQ fully built already in the 3.0 patch? I mean, there's just some quality of life stuff, and there's a new quest, but the majority of the biggest features are going to be most helpful for people who have not reached HQ yet, or haven't finished building it up. But yeah, you should be able to, like, now with this, once you get used to this workflow, like, you can bust out building plans pretty darn fast. And I can show you guys a lot. There's a lot of different stuff I can show you, like cheater ways to make building stages really quick, like with making new static collections out of your existing one. It's really, really fast. There are steps like we can make the nav mesh better for the NPCs. We can use the dynamic decorations. So it's something that I advertise a lot in SS1 and less so in SS2, but any of the houses, especially in SS1, there's some in SS2 that have it as well. But you'll find that if you were to go into two people's houses that had the exact same model, that the little items that appear on their desks and stuff would be different between them, because we have like a randomized spawning thing like for food and such. Like if I, so like let's look at this. Let's take a mental snapshot. You can see we've got a mute fruit in each of these. We got that little pink box of those. If I refresh this plot, if that's using random spawns, which I believe it is, it'll get different items the next time. So let's see if that's the case. I actually don't know because I didn't build this building plan. So I tend to use those, but I don't know if Ono did. I assume he does. Let's find out. Okay, so that one happened to roll the same one, but then this one down here rolled carrots this time. So, so there are a lot of like cooler things you can do only in the CK that I can show you guys how to get access to as well. But I think the next step, the smartest thing to do would be let's start from the beginning and let's do the whole process and see how quickly I can do it now that we've gotten past the me screwing up because I couldn't remember how to do stuff. So in that idea, let's start by COCing to the cell. So let's get our little cell up because I don't remember what it is. So I'm gonna do, guys, cover your ears. Cover your ears for a minute. I'm gonna do something really loud. Everybody ready? All right, now when we're editing, we can look for a giant spike in the volume to see where I need to cut the video for the VOD. But it looks like it's at 10:38 p.m. I'll write that down too. Hopefully that will help as well. Okay, so we're in our cell. We've got nothing here because we didn't load our save. It has nothing to do with the plugin. Remember, it's the save file. So we're going to go to TGM. We're going to quickly build some stuff here. We're going to do a little simpler building this time because you guys kind of get the idea now. So we're going to do this. Level 1, you get no walls. You just get a bed. Where's my beds? You get a bed. We'll give you a nicer bed this time. It's still going to be dirty, but it's at least up there. Oh, you know what? We gave you a sleeping bag last time. We'll upgrade you to a dirty mattress, and then level 2 you can have the frame. All right, that's it. That's all they get for level 1. So we'll go ahead and export this. Oops, wrong button. Settlement layout, export layout, export it. Let that export. Snapping your neck ASMR, is that a thing? That sounds terrible. Okay, so let's we'll search by date modified. Here it is. Yep, 82271. Okay, so then we're gonna name this one stream plan export 02 level 1. 02 because this is our second run at it. All right, and now let's swap ourselves over to level 2. Cancel out of that menu. And this time we will give them, is there a whole structure? Here they get this. They get a couple extra walls this time, and we'll turn it this way so we can put the door toward the front. And then we'll put their bed up on a frame. Nope, still dirty mattress for you. And we'll go ahead and give them a couple extra things. We'll give them a light. And how about do we have a very dirty rug? That is what our poor settler gets at level 2. Here we go. Well, oh, even better, ripped rug. Perfect. And you get a ripped rug. All right, and now let's go ahead and export level 2. Export it. There we go. Gavman, is it okay to ask all the WRK grouped items that are listed as single static objects in the CK? For example, personal in-use stuff or the stored shelf foods. Usually no, but we have a lot of the items when you look in the CK. They will say in the name or in the editor ID, do not scall. So those are ones where I mentioned if you get a crash, you're gonna need help. And that's the first thing people helping you will tell you to do. Like, do you see any of them that say do not scall? Like, unselect those. I can show you how to unselect things in a moment. So let's get this set up here. So we've got our 2 levels, And we will go ahead and save this. Save as stream building 02. Exit the game. And then we will load into the Creation Kit. That loud noise very close on my chiropractor sounds. That's funny. That was just a clap behind the microphone. All right, and then we just need Fallout 4 for this first step, because all we need to do right now is create a cell. Because what we're going to do next is import those items that we just set up in workshop mode into the Creation Kit, because that is where all the visual magic happens. It just makes it a lot easier to work with. But yeah, once we get back around, circle back around to the steps where we are in the cell in the CK and we see all the items, I can show you, Gamejam, how you would deal with one of those do not escall items. Sounded like King Gath bopping the mic with an empty water bottle. I don't have one of those handy. I should get one. It would be way less risky than these glasses of water. I feel what was that movie? It was one of the ones after Sixth Sense that M. Night did, where the little girl leaves glasses of water everywhere. That is what my desk often looks like. There's a bunch of half drinking glasses of water all over the place, because every time I go upstairs I make sure to bring myself a fresh glass just to be certain I have water handy. Okay, so now we are in the Creation Kit. We've got Fallout 4 loaded. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate this marker cell and name this something for ourselves. I'm going to leave the AAA so it stays up top. So we're going to go stream to, let's see, build cell. And then we're going to double click that cell so that our cell loads up in this render window. Now we're going to use the middle mouse to zoom out, select everything. Oh, and here's where I can show you, Gamejam. So if you are trying to, when we get later to the static collection step, if you are finding that something is crashing you, in this cell view window, you can make this bigger. You can control click to remove things. So if you see something in this list that has the name, that has do not escol, do not SCOL in the name, you should 100% remove that from your selection. And that is probably what's causing your crash. But, all right, we're going to delete all these, and then we're going to save this plugin. And we're going to call this one Stream Building Test 2, because we're starting over to show the whole process. And then we close out of here. Now we're going to try and do the trick we came across earlier that someone suggested, where we just leave everything open. So next we need xEdit. So if you don't have xEdit installed, there is a link, should be in, I believe it's in the description of the video right now. You can grab that, and once you have xEdit installed, you're going to run it from its install folder. I have it pinned right here, so we'll go ahead and load this up, and we'll go ahead and load our new plugin. So we're going to just double click our, actually, oh, that's what we're going to do. So we're not going to double click, we're going to check it in, because what this is going to do is it's going to load up our entire load order. Now the benefit of this is when we do this next step, if there were any dependencies, because we used an item from a certain mod, which I don't think I just did there. I think I used all vanilla items, but if we did, it can easily find and parent them to our plugins. Because like you never want to have like 40 mods parented to your plugin. That's just not good practice, because it makes the CK load slower, and it will make people less likely to want to ever look at your thing, because it will have so many dependencies, it'll make it really hard for them to ever use it. And then any like random patches and stuff that you have would get parented that wouldn't be good. So the nice thing is, the way xEdit works, it will only add masters, which are the parented mods that are absolutely necessary. All right, so now we're going to expand our Stream Building Test 2, expand the cells, and we're going to find the one we made, the build cell here. And we're going to right click on it, and we're going to hit Apply Script. And we're going to go search up that WSFW export to cell. If you don't see this, it is available in a tool, which I will link once again, since I know we are kind of going back through all this stuff here. So we'll copy link. I will make sure to put this in the VOD description as well. Where is my share? Right here. I don't know why I kept looking past that. All right, so inside of here is this particular xEdit script. It will also get added to the add-on makers toolkit that is available on Nexus. It will get added to that before Friday, likely tomorrow. I do want to try and add that clone thing that I talked about at the beginning of the stream. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK to this. And this is going to ask us then to navigate to our folder, which is under Documents, My Games, Fallout 4, Logs, Script, User. And then we got to find those stream logs we created. So I think it was Stream Building Plan. What did we name that? Uh-oh, I don't remember which one's which. Okay, we can look at the date, though, and figure out which one's older. So we want the 1040 ones. So we'll grab level 1. And then it's going to ask us for a layer name. This is just going to help organize the items. I'm going to give myself a prefix for all my stuff so I can find it later. So we'll go ST for this. And we're going to do level 1. And then we'll do it once more for level 2. Now, if you had created all 3 of your levels, you could do them all right now. That's fine. Let's see. Stream level 2, 1041. There it is. I'll do the same thing. Oops. Level 2. Okay, and we should come down here. We can see our levels. And if we were to expand this, we can see the temporary items. So the items got placed. So we're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and close this and hit OK. All right. And oh, this is my second. I was like, wait, why is the CK still open? That's my second copy of the CK. All right, now we're going to open the Creation Kit. So you can open this. You'll probably be opening it from Steam. I have it pinned to my start menu, but you'll probably be opening it from Steam. Chef, xEdit is included with the CPC helper. Oh, cool. So that's included. That's part of the Wabajack install. That's interesting. All right, so now we're going to go to open on the Creation Kit here. We're going to go down and find our plugin. Double click that and hit set active file. Excuse me. All right, now one thing I'm going to do here is you can see we don't have SS2 as a master, and we're going to need it. So I'm going to also open up SS2. So the difference between Creation Kit and xEdit with masters is Creation Kit will always, if you save a plugin that's active with another plugin loaded, it will try and make it apparent. So it's going to try and attach SS2 to our plugin, which is good. We need that in order to make an add-on pack. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Generally, if you had built any items from SS2 when you were doing your in-game building, then those would have been detected when we used that WSFW script, and the parent would have been added automatically. So any items that or any mods you used items from, when you did that import, they would be listed here. But we only used vanilla items, which is why we only see Fallout 4.esm here. We have to check an active file because we want the changes to save to this file. I think the movie is Signs. Yeah, it was like with aliens or something, right? I can barely remember the movie. I just remember scenes of like glasses of water all over the house, and I always think of that whenever I come down to my office, and then that prompts me to do the dishes. So the CK is now going to be the biggest holdup this time around, whereas the first time it was my shoddy memory. This time the CK is going to keep us down. I'm sure I'll forget other stuff this time, but hopefully it's still fresh in my mind after we just did it. All right, there we go. All right, so we need to first set up our stage models. So these are the things like the structure of the building, because those are separate from the little individual items. So we're going to first load into our cell. And you'll see that we're zoomed in really awkwardly. So we're going to zoom out with the middle mouse, or the mouse wheel rather. And then we're going to click on something, hold shift, move around, get a better view. and we can see all of our stuff. And then we're going to hide level 2. We're going to hit the little A here next to level 1. That makes it active, so whatever we do next will apply to that layer. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Go to our object window, and we're going to search for static collection pivot dummy. There we go. You can also do, if you don't want to type with the whole word collection, you can put an asterisk there, and that will also find it. And then we're going to grab this guy and we're going to drag it onto the actual title bar. When you put something on the title bar, it drops it at the very center of the cell, which is what all the items are imported around. So you can see there, we got this little cross thingy has appeared there. Then we're going to repeat for cell 2. So we're going to unhide that, move the A to that one, so for level 2, and drop you in, and there we go. All right, now we're going to go back to level 1. And we are going to hit select all loaded references on layer. So right click on the layer, select all loaded references in layer. Then in here, we'll see everything gets highlighted. We're going to come over here, right click, hit make static collection. And you're going to get this warning, and you're just going to click the first button to create it without those references. Those are the things that the player and NPCs need to be able to interact with, so they can't be part of the structure. And we're going to give this a new unique name. So I'm going to do a little filter on this. And I actually don't like that it's, I guess I need to give it a more unique prefix. One of the reasons we do these prefixes is to make it so that you can find your stuff uniquely. So there we go, SBT, no one's using that, or the Bethesda isn't using that anywhere. So now whenever I search for this, only my items will come up. That's why we kind of do that. All right, so then this is going to be level 1 structure, and I'm going to put SCOL at the end because these static collections are special items. You can use them in your building plans, but generally what we find is people are going to want for their final levels. So a lot of times we use these static collections, which are just clusters of items. We often use those for our building stages, like the in-between stages, but the final level that stays in your settlement for a long time, that one you want to be what's called a static record, which I'll show you how to create. And that's because static collections can't be nav meshed. And obviously you want your building to be nav meshed, otherwise the NPCs will just idiotically walk into the wall. So we're gonna hit OK, and then this window filter, we'll just hit OK. Now, I mentioned this last time I went through this, but because I'm hoping to VOD out this section, if you get a crash right here, it means that one of the items that you had selected does not support being part of a static collection, and you'll need to figure out which item that is. There are a lot of items in SS2, so if you're using the Wasteland Reconstruction Kit, we have some items that will have in their editor ID, do not scall. So I'm going to bring up a search here and search for that so you can see what I'm talking about. But if we search for do not scall, you'll see a whole bunch of these items. So when you are, not as many as I thought actually, I thought we had way more than that. So if you are going to create this and it crashes, you have to figure out which item is crashing it. It's almost certainly going to be a mod added item. And very rarely will Bethesda's items ever cause a crash because some items just have weird collision. And so you just kind of got to figure out which one it is. There are lots of people who have gone through this and figured out which ones can and cannot be. Most vanilla items can, most DLC items can. It's almost exclusively some mod items that cannot be static collection. So if you get a crash trying to create a static collection, that is why. It's also why we recommend between every one that you create, you go ahead and pop a save so you don't lose all of your progress. All right, so next we're going to repeat the process for our level 2 structure. So we'll go ahead and switch over here. Again, select all loaded references. Come over here, right click, make static collection. We're going to create without these references. We're okay with that. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on this. So you don't really double click, you click it once, then click it again, and it'll highlight the text. So then you can Control C, Control V, and then we'll switch to level 2. Okay to the object window filter. And if we were to change this, there we go, there's our second static collection. And once again, we'll save pretty much every time we do anything in the Creation Kit. All right, so the next step is we need to create statics. And the difference between a static and a normal, if we open up a static and a static collection, if we open up a static collection, you see this little drop down? It's actually made up of individual pieces. For performance sake, and for the sake of being able to nav mesh things, we need to convert them into a static record. And a static record, so if I bring up a building, so if we go to just search for building, let's see if we can find a good one here. Sure, the laser cannon building. You can see that it is just one single mesh file. There are not the little drop down with individual pieces, and this is just more performant. And again, we can nav mesh it, which is pretty important later. So we're going to go to do this. What we do is we open up these static collections and we hit recreate NIF from data. And now that's going to create inside of your Fallout 4 directory in the SCOL folder. There's going to be a new folder named after your plugin file. That's where you'll find this NIF. So you can jump over to your Fallout 4 directory, go into data, meshes, static collection, and there you will find your plugin. There are a couple things you could do here, but I would recommend not leaving your stuff in the static collection directory. So what I'm going to do is grab this mesh. I'm going to hit Control X to cut it. Come back over here. We'll go ahead and go to our stream plans folder that we've been working on. We're going to make a plan number 2. You don't have to make subfolders. I just like to stay organized. And we'll go ahead and drop this in here. And then we're going to give it a different name. So I'm actually going to name it the same as without the scol. There's our structure. And then we will do the same for level 2. Recreate NIF. Go back here. Actually, we'll just hit back a few times to end up in that folder. There it is. Control X to cut it. Come back into our plan 02, paste it in, and we want to grab this name, make this our level 2 structure. Now, for those of you guys who have made building plans before, you know that I'm skipping some steps. There are some stuff you can do with a program called NIF Scope. Totally not necessary. What I'm trying to show you guys right now is the minimum requirement to make a building plan that will work in the contest. And then afterward, I'll show you like some of the fancier stuff you can do if you want to really get into building plan making, or if you would prefer to release your building plan in a more perfect form where it works as well as everybody hopes, because that will get you more points in the contest. But not necessary, and I'm sure a lot of people would be happy to just have more structures to build with. All right, so the next thing we need to do is now get those static meshes we made into the creation kit. So you can see here we have 2 meshes that are very similarly named, right? We have this high-tech laser cannon building, level 2F, and then level 2F scol. There are 2 ways you can tell the difference between them. One is from the little icon. You can see the statics are blue, and the scols have the little SC. But you can also open up the form, like I showed you earlier, and see that one of them has this drop-down of all the pieces, and the other one has a bunch of other stats instead. So we need to create this kind of the blue record, the static record for those. Now there's a really cool thing with the CK. You can actually open up in Windows. You can grab things that are in your meshes folder and just drag them in. As long as in the object window you have a specific category selected, it'll create records of that type. So if I selected activator, dragged them in, it would make activators. We want statics. So we're going to just go ahead and drag these in. And there we go. There's our new static records of our structures. Now, obviously, didn't make a lot of sense for me to make this level 1, since all it is, if we unhide all this, the level 1 is just this vanilla prefab, but that was just for the example. But you can see for my level 2, it actually baked the carpet into the prefab because the carpet was actually static, so it was actually capable of that. If that's something you don't want, that's something going through the full Atomaker's Toolkit, you'll learn how to avoid that, avoid specific items from ending up in your building, but it doesn't hurt anything to go in there. So now we've got our 2 static structures set up here. So we'll go ahead and save. Now technically we are, nope, we're not done. There's one more step we got to do. There, I say technically we're done in the CK for this stage, but we're not. We got to export some stuff. All right, so now that we've got our structures created, our statics, next thing we need to do is get our other items, so the non-structure, we need to get these items, their positions, exported so that we have them in a spreadsheet. And what the spreadsheet's going to do, it's really easy to create, is tell the xEdit software we're going to use how to position the items in the building when the player uses it. So we're going to go ahead and select our structure and hit 1 twice on our keyboard to hide it. So then all that will be visible left here are the individual, what we call stage items, the items that the player needs to be able to interact with, or that have some sort of functionality, like lights will be here, doors, anything that does more than just exists. And we're going to go ahead and draw a box to make sure we've got them all selected. We're going to go File, Import, Export, Ref Placements for selection, and then we're going to go ahead and give this a name. Now you might want to create yourself a subfolder here. I actually am going to do that right now. We're going to call this building, or we'll call this stage item exports, just to keep it from being a mess. And then we're going to go ahead and give this a name. We'll go call this stream build test plan 02 level 1, stage items. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to use that again because that was a mouthful. And then we'll unhide that, go to level 2, click on the structure, hide it, grab all these. I think there's only 2 actually. Same thing, import, export, replacements for selection. And then we will, where's our new folder? Here it is. And this time it's level 2 stage items. And then if you want all of the items you hid with 1 to return, just hold Alt and push 1, by the way. So if we come back here, and now see all the items on both layers reappeared, the ones that you hid with just 1. So there's 2 ways to hide items: tapping 1 twice while you have it selected, or you can hide the layer that the items are on. All right, so now we are done in the CK, but I'm going to leave it open for just a minute just in case I forgot a step. So the next step, we're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a copy of Excel or OpenOffice. I'm going to show you an OpenOffice because that's free to everybody. You can get it at openoffice.org. And you need specifically the calc program. So we're going to go ahead and run calc, OpenOffice calc here. Make this full screen. And we are going to go to Insert Sheet from File. And we are going to navigate to our stage item exports. And we're going to grab our level 1 here. And we get this little pop-up. Now you'll see these little arrows in here. Those are tabs. So we want to separate by tab, and we'll uncheck by comma. So now we get a nice set of data from the CK. Go ahead and hit OK. And then we'll go ahead and do it again. And insert. And we'll grab level 2. And tab saved at that time. Hit OK. Okay, now we're going to, so what that ended up doing is it put our level 2 on one sheet and level 1 on one sheet. Well, we need to combine them together. Before we do that, so first we're going to grab we're going to go to our level 1 sheet here. And we're going to add a level at the top, and then we're going to type in 1. So now any items, and if you had multiple here, just put a 1 in this column for all of them. Then you're going to go to your level 2 sheet, and you're going to grab not the header row, but you're going to grab the rest here and copy them and paste them below level 1, and then we'll put a little 2 number them. And if you had a level 3, you could do that for that as well. Now we're going to delete this sheet. We don't need the level 2 sheet anymore because we want everything on one sheet here. Then we're going to go to File, Save As. We want to save it as a CSV file, and we want to check in Edit Filter Settings. I'll go ahead and put it in here, and we're going to name it Plan 02 All Stage Items, and hit Save. Keep current format, and OK to that. And yes, it's warning us that it only kept the current sheet that we're looking at, which is what we wanted. Okay, the next thing we need to do, we're going to close this file, is we need to create a list of our building plan models, so those editor IDs. And this was a good reason why we kept the CK open too. So in the Add-on Makers Toolkit, which you can find a link in the description below, inside the file you download from there, you'll see spreadsheet templates, and you can open up this building models template. Eventually you'll figure you don't actually need this. This is just kind of a demonstration, but it's a good helpful thing for me to explain something. So we're going to hit comma because it is a proper CSV file. We don't want it to open with tabs. And you can see down here in this preview that it's going to open correctly. So what this template is basically showing you is that each row represents one level of your building plan. The top, the default, this is like your building stages, so your building materials. So you'll notice when you build certain people's, especially in add-on packs, you'll build one of their building plans and like some chunk of the structure will appear as if it's waiting to be assembled. That's what this row's for. This is your level 1 row, hence the L1s throughout it. L2, your level 2 row, and level 3. Now the actual number of entries here is kind of arbitrary, and that's the point. It's trying to show you that you can put as many or as few as you want. But the most important thing to note is that the last entry in each row should be your final building. That's the one you want to sit there forever for the NPCs to use until the plan levels up. Now, in the case of our first example, we're just going to have single, we're not going to have any in-between stages. We're just going straight to the final model. So we're going to delete out all this stuff. So go ahead. Oh, I can't. We are in the template that's read-only that I opened, so of course we can't do that. So we're going to go back to, so we actually don't need this spreadsheet. This template is just an example to explain it to you. We can actually go ahead and just do a new spreadsheet, And we'll just type in default in the first because we just want to use the default building materials. Now for here, we want to grab the, wrong CK, I have 2 copies of it open. We want our level 1 structure. So you want the editor ID of your level 1 structure for the next thing. So we'll go back and open office here. And that's going to be our, the first row is building materials, second row is level 1. Then we want level 2 structure. Oops, level 2, which I named them the same except for the 2. And now we don't have a level 3, so what we'll do in that case is we'll just reuse the level 2 structure. Now we're going to go save as, oops, save works fine. All right, and we're going to go to CSV once again, just like we did for the stage items. And this time we're going to name this stage models. So that's what we call it internally, the difference. The stage items are like the individual bits, and the models are the actual structures. So again, you could have as many entries as you want in each of these rows, and those are going to be the, as a player, when you're experiencing it in game, you'll know that a lot of building plans, you'll see like first the scaffolding comes up, and then like the left wall comes on, the right wall comes on. All that is a whole bunch of model files just listed in order here. Go ahead and save this. Keep current format. Okay, okay. Close this. We are now done with Excel. And we are done with our CK for now. We'll be back in the CK in just a moment. Actually, I don't know if we have to. I think we can go right from this testing game. I can't recall now. Told you guys I was going to forget some stuff between attempts. All right, now let's load up or close out of the CK because we're going to load back into xEdit because you can only have the plugin open in one or the other or it won't be able to save. So now we'll come into xEdit and we're going to search for our file. So this time we want test 2. Now in this case, we've already got the plugins mastered to it. So if I extend this, you can see that it has masters of Fallout 4, Workshop Framework, and SS2. So we can just double click this and it will load those masters as well. And then it won't load all that other stuff. So it'll make it run a little bit faster. So we're just going to get the bare minimum we need. And we're going to expand this out. And we're going to go to the file header, right click on it, hit apply script. And then you're going to search for SS2. And if you don't see SS2 showing up, it means one of two things. Either you need to check in this little box or you have not extracted the xEdit scripts here. You need these 2 files, these .pas files in this SS2 folder should go into your FO4Edits folder. If you go in there, there's an edit scripts, and that's where those will go. And then you will see those here. You might have to close this window and hit apply script again if you are just copying them now. And we want the, I always forget the name of these scripts. I want to go through one of these days and rename all of these scripts because I always forget which ones are which. We want import stage data. Here we go. SS2 import stage data. We're gonna hit OK. And we want to do an entire building plan. There are other options here you could do if you wanted to just do a level for your plan or a skin. There's a lot of stuff here, but we're going to just do a simple building plan. And now the name field is what the player will see. So we're going to go SBT. So this is something that you don't have to do, but it makes it look nice and neat in the game. You'll notice that most add-on packs that you have picked themselves a 2 or 3 character prefix, and they put that in brackets and then a space, and then it helps all the plans line up nicely. Like ours say SS2 or SS2C2 to help players know where it's coming from, so that if they want to recommend it to somebody else, or if they they had it in one save and they can't figure out where it is in the second, they can figure out which plugin it's coming from, or maybe in the next playthrough they're like, I'm going to abandon something. They know not to abandon the ones that have the prefix they like, etc. It's just helpful so players understand where their building plans are coming from. So we'll go test plan, editor ID. We want a unique editor ID for the same reason we did in CK to search things out. So we'll start our editor ID with that. The mod prefix is because this thing, after we hit OK to it, so this is all like pretty simple stuff to fill out this form. But there's going to be dozens, if not hundreds of forms that get generated by clicking start. And each one of them will get this prefix here, which is very helpful. So we're going to call this stream building test plan I guess in this plugin it's 01, but we'll name it 02 just so that everyone following along with the entire stream understands. So this is our second plan. Then you choose the type it's for. Ours had a bed, so it's residential. We did it 2x2, and it was a single person. So we're good there. Themes, this is totally optional, but there is a system in SS2 that I think very few players are aware of where you can actually filter out what building plans your settlers will use, and this is how it's done. So you give it any of the themes that are relevant. So ours was very simple. The description, this is what will come up to the player if they are reading about the plan. So for example, if they choose the view building plan details, it will show them this. There's another spot where you'll be able to put in your own name. I can show you that in game. I don't know if the xEdit script supports it, but in the game I can show, or in the CK I can show you how to do that so that players know that you are the designer in game. So we'll go ahead, and that might be what you put here in the description. So I'm going to try that just because it's been a while since I've filled this out. But we're going to go ahead and put single person building. I guess we should give it something a little bit more scripted. Simple single person building, no doors. And then we'll put. I'm going to put this in here. I don't think that this is correct, but I'm just curious how this is going to look in game. And then we want to check in all these boxes. We want to register a thing. We want building previews, so that way when the player is previewing the building, they can see our model. And then the stacked moving, if you don't check this in, then if the player were to pick up the plot, all your items or your building at least would disappear from the building as the player dragged the plot. So checking this in sets it up so that the player can pick up the whole plot and move everything alongside it. Then we're going to click the 3 dots next to model files, and we are going to navigate to our game. Now, one of the things that I've set up that I talked about earlier, but for the case of the VOD, I'm going to explain again, is getting to your Fallout 4 folder is kind of a pain. It's kind of deep in your C drive. So once you get there, you can right click on the folder and hit send to desktop to create a shortcut. And then in these open windows within xEdit and a lot of other software, you can go to there, jump to your shortcut, and that will take you right to the folder and just saves a lot of time. So we're going to stage item exports, and we are doing the models file. So we're going to grab our stage models, and then we'll repeat the same thing for our stage items, and it remembered where we were. And we'll go ahead and hit start. And you can see on the left here, a whole bunch of different form types generated. The more stage items you had, the more records under misc item you would find. It created this description for our building plan. It created a version global. It creates us a quest to handle our add-on registration so that our buildings get registered. It basically does all of the tedious, awful stuff for you. And that's it. So now we hit OK. And then you can load this up in your mod manager, or you can do like I'm going to do here, put it right into my plugins.txt file. And then we'll go back to Fallout 4 and run this. Here we go. And I will, as soon as we get this in-game and tested in one go like this, I will stop and answer questions. I wanted to have a quick video we could point to be like, here you go, here's it all working in without King Gath fumbling around. All right, we're gonna go to this one. This is fine. All right, don't mind that error. I have no idea what hell this save has been through. Okay. All right, we're gonna need someone to assign to here. Codsworth. Congratulations, you live in this house now. All right, now I'm gonna give it a minute to make sure that my add-on pack had a chance to register. Should probably did by now. If you find that your building plan isn't here and you're certain you followed along all the steps, the best way to get it to come in is to save the game after you've loaded in, and then immediately reload that save, and that will trigger all add-on packs in SS2 to re-register. So if you find that it's just stuck for some reason or not responding, which I get a lot of reports of that, even though clearly we're having good luck today, that's a good way to resolve it. But you can see here we've got our plan showed up. It has our description there in the middle: single person home, simple single person building, no doors, and designer King Gath. Usually you can see there's a couple places that we often put the name. We put by the person in the name of it. There's another place we usually have the designer show up, and it's, again, been so long since I built one of these that usually we don't put it in the description there, I don't think, but let's check. Yeah, we usually don't put it in the description, just if you want to get it close to how we have them in SS2 proper. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. You can put your name all over the thing if you want. And then if I right thumbstick here, you get the color preview of it, and that's all set up for you automatically. We'll go ahead and buy that plan, hit accept, and we should get the prompt to pay for it. And the costs are all based on the class, so you don't have to worry about setting up costs or anything. Though, if you're interested, you can actually do that. That's more of an advanced feature, but you can actually make your building plan cost a different amount. That is all done in the Creation Kit. And we'll pay and build and give this a moment. Now, we ran into this before. We saw, for some reason, it's spawning our items immediately. I think that is a consequence of not having any individual stages, which are fairly easy to add in. And then as soon as you have at least one additional stage, then I think that prevents the items from showing up immediately. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't hurt anything to have a floating bed there for a moment. But we should see our structure appear in about 30 or 40 seconds here. So this is just the same as any other building plan. It's no different than one that was completely designed in the Creation Kit now. The fact that we did some of the design work in game. One of the reasons we needed like all that script, all the multiple uses of xEdit is because what we realized was the data in the game, like we can pull all that data. We can pull the position data and like what it is that the player built, and that's all we need, and that's all that runs SimSettlements. It's just a bunch of numbers. That's why those spreadsheets are just a whole bunch of numbered data. Excuse me. And that plot tool, the thing that has that crazy infinite void world where you can build in, the reason that works for this is I set up a settlement, and there's those red markers on the ground that are the exact size of the plot, and they are centered in that world at the 0, 0, 0 coordinate. So that way when we take the coordinates and transpose them to the 0 point of any plot the player places, the coordinates line up perfectly. And then we use some fancy calculus to handle the rotation, or I guess it's not calculus, it's probably trig. Use some fancy math to calculate the angle. That's a little more complicated, but the actual position data, very easy. And now we can cheat here and use the unlock level command, cf unlock level, to go to level 2. Should happen fairly instantly. There we go. There's our structure with the rug. We get our bed and we get our light, and you can see the light lights up because we have it rigged up that plots will automatically power everything. There are a special type of light you can only place in the CK where the power, like the status of the light, will react to the status of power in the building, but those are only available in the CK because they wouldn't be very useful to players in game, so we don't have them buildable. And then if we were to do this unlock level again, you remember that we didn't have a level 3 yet. We just reused level 2, but we didn't set up any stage items for level 2. So when we do this, our bed is going to disappear. Same with our light, and we will be left with just a structure. Or it's going to make a liar out of me. Maybe it's not. Oh, there. Nope, still didn't do it. I just caught a glimpse of the light disappearing where that was just my terrible frame rate. Okay, so it must be smart enough. I'm guessing the import tool is smart enough to realize we didn't have any level 2 items. So it doesn't create us, or I'm sorry, level 3 items, so it doesn't create us a level 3. That is my assumption here. Let's see if we go to view details. Yeah, we're still stuck at level 2, so it must not have created us a level 3, which that's cool that the script is smart enough. You're actually not required to have 3 levels on a building plan. Building plans can work with just 1 level, but players will expect them to have 3. So if you're entering into the competition, you will want to get three levels in there. You are not required to do a lot of the other steps like the navmeshing and creating stage models and everything. That is some stuff I'm going to show you how to do next because it's most of it's pretty straightforward, but it's just a lot. There's like infinite levels of polish that you can do on a building plan, and it's up to you how far you want to take it. But I think that's it. That's all that's required to do it. Now, I guess the next thing that'll be worth showing you guys before we cut back to questions and everything, I'm going to show you guys really quick how you edit a plan once you started it, because I think that is what a lot of people are going to want to do. They're going to see that they got this started, they got their demo, and they're like, okay, well, now how do I update it? How do I make changes to it? So let me show you really quickly how you do that, because it's pretty easy. So you generally will go through and do all the same steps. So I'm not going to show you all those same steps. I'm going to show you the step that's different, but you will go back into the game, load your save file, you know, tinker and everything, and then come back, load it into the CK again. You'll probably want to put it on a new level or a new layer when you get to that step. You'll go through all the same steps again. Where it changes is when you are going to import those final spreadsheets. So we created the spreadsheets with the list of all of our stage models and the spreadsheets for all of our stage items. The very last step that you do in xEdit, this is where things will change. So you're going to go into your plugin, load in the same one again, and I think I might have just loaded my first plugin, but it doesn't matter. The method is the same. So you load up your plugin that you ran the xEdit script on before that created all these records for you, and your actual core record that represents your building plan is actually a weapon. This is actually a thing we did so that we could get the little text description in the middle, and so that we could get the preview. Like, that's something weapons uniquely can do. They can do both of those things, so we used weapons for this. But you're going to right click on your building plan for your weapon and hit apply script and run that same import stage data. And it's smart enough to load up all the data, and then you can feed it new model files and new stage items files, and it should allow you to do just one or the other. So then you can do an update. You can come in and update the description. Now you can see that my the King Gath thing is not here. That's because I accidentally loaded up Stream Building Test 1 in the original file instead of Stream Building 2. But you can edit the description here. You can see that now the confirmation message is showing you what got generated, because if you guys remember when I ran this, I checked in this box. So this is the message that exists for it. If we wanted, we could delete this out and check this in again and let it update. So if we want to change the name of it, so if we wanted to match the format, so you guys remember the first time I ran through this, we forgot to do the little this little thing, and then we can match the base game by putting in our by and the name, so it shows up to the player and they can see who made it. And we can even just update that. If we just want to update the name and we don't want to import new things, we can just hit go, and it knows to update the appropriate things. So you can update as little or as much as you want from that. But the trick there is going down to your weapon, finding the individual weapon you want to update, and apply the script to that. So if you apply it to the file header, it'll create new records. If you apply it to the weapon, it'll update those records. And there's more advanced stuff we can do, but this is kind of a good baseline, I think a good spot to, like, if we were going to chunk out the video and let somebody watch, here's a 30-ish minute video to watch. There you go. Cool. All right, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to scroll back up through chat and check out some of the stuff I missed and try to answer questions. And then we can kind of go into some of the more advanced stuff for people who want to go a little more hardcore on it. Let's see here. Gaban, for the model CSV, if we create our own pre-building model, do we use its name instead of default in that top row? Yes. So your default would get replaced with the editor ID of whatever you used for the base. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick, just so everybody understands it. I think this will be a good format. And as long as I've got questions, I'll just show you guys how to do specific stuff people ask about. And then if we hit a lull, I will start going through some of the tutorials so I can show you guys some of the more advanced stuff you can do. Because this stream went a lot, it's already gone a lot longer than anticipated to actually have a clip to show you guys how to do all this stuff. So we're definitely not going to have time to go through the full kit like I had hoped, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to just we'll load up the first one. I don't know why the second one's not showing up in the bottom of the list there. But if you want to learn all the nitty gritty details, like if you really want to get through it all and learn all of the bits about it, it will go a lot quicker than you think. But it's this for building plans. It's this. I guess it's technically 9 tutorials. The first one I think it just explains tutorials in general. Yeah, it's just this is like why it explains why I'm so wordy and how I try and break up some of the data and stuff. And then this getting started, I think 0.1 is just how to install all the tools. So if you've got all the tools installed, you're ahead of the game. First add-on, this shows you how to do it manually. So then you understand like what the xEdit script is doing. Oh, and actually we should close this. And I'm not going to save because the Creation Kit will bug out on me. First add-on has you create some of the stuff manually, so then you understand the benefits of the xEdit and you kind of understand what it's doing. The nice thing about that is not only to help you appreciate the xEdit script, but also then you kind of get an idea of what the forms are that you might want to edit manually, because there's way more stuff you can do manually than you can do with the xEdit script. The xEdit script is kind of like, here's the stuff that is commonly done, but if you want to get clever or creative, there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do in the CK itself. And if you know what forms are doing what, it helps with that. So that's one of the benefits of this one. And then this will show you how to do like the static collections that we were just doing. So you can see that that is pretty easy. This probably has a lot of stuff warning you about what types of items to use, more stuff about layers. It's really going to just show you a lot of what I have showed you so far, but more in depth. And it's assuming that you're building it entirely in the Creation Kit as opposed to importing data from the game. Because when we first created SS2, we didn't have this in-game tool, this workflow. That is new as of like 2 weeks ago. Like we just put this together. So the steps in here are going to show you how to do it in the CK. I guarantee you that all the existing add-on pack authors who have released a lot of building plans, none of them are going to switch to the in-game method because they have gotten used to the CK, and you get very used to it, and you end up with a lot more precise control than you have in the game. It's a lot easier to find items in the CK, so you'll quickly find the CK is the superior method to do it, but as a bridge to get you there, the game is a great way to get started because you guys are all familiar with those tools. But if you once you've kind of gotten your head wrapped around moving around the CK, you'll start to discover that it's very easy to build in there. And then this is going to show you how to set up manual building records, because it will be helpful in the long run. So a lot of this stuff in these tutorials will take you, like probably to go through the whole series would probably take you like 4 or 5 hours. But then every time after that, you'll get significantly faster because there's so much less you have to read. I mean, you can just look at this video where it took me like an hour and a half to go through it the first time, and then around a half hour to do it the second time. Okay, so let's go back to Gavman's thing real quick. So we're going to go into our test import cell. We'll go ahead and hide this stuff. We'll create a new layer, stream plan 01. We'll call this building materials. And we'll make it active. And let's say you just wanted to have a bunch of random chunks of stuff as your thing. One thing that can help here, and we're going to go ahead and put one of those pivot dummies here as well. One thing that helps, we have a thing in here if you are building in here, and you can do this. You can build your building materials in the game too. I'm just showing it here quickly, but since we're on the topic, we do have these helpers, alignment helpers that you can use. I don't know if we have named SS2. Yeah, we have SS2 as well. So we have anything you see that's KG Sim that was imported from SS1, because SS2 started as a fork of SS1. So we're going to go ahead and grab this alignment helper, and we'll go ahead and drop that onto the title bar. And like that, you can help you see the area you have to work from. Like this represents the very underside of the plot, so you'd want to kind of rest stuff on top of it. So we can grab stuff here. If you're interested in learning CK stuff, if you push F while holding something, you'll drop it down to the next surface. And so we could just lay down a bunch of stuff. So let's say like pipe. We don't want industrial pipe. Yeah, Diamond City pipes are nice. Oop, those are very big though. One thing to note is when you're creating meshes out of things that had crazy collisions, sometimes the collision will not shrink correctly. So if you've ever noticed like a random item that seems to block your pathing way outside its boxes, sometimes the collision doesn't like to shrink down with the rest of the item. But you can basically set up your building materials like this, or you can do it in game. And so then we can do basically the same thing. We can create a static collection. So let's do, what did we name our ST underscore? Was this the one where we did? Yeah, I don't think we did SBT in this. Oh, actually, we can check. Let's unhide you. And we'll cancel. What is this thing named? Stream plan 01. Okay, we can do that. Stream plan 01 as our prefix. All right, hide you again. So if we grab all the things on the building materials layer, and you even if you grab the plot helper, the alignment helper, it's fine. It doesn't hurt anything because it's invisible in game. So we'll go ahead and grab this and we'll put building materials. SCall. Now what's cool is with things that are not your final stages, so building materials are a great example, you can just use the SCall. So we can just do this into our spreadsheet. So if we go into our, where do we put that spreadsheet? Because this is from our first one that we did. So that one is this one. So we load this up. We can actually grab, oops, go back into the CK. We can grab this editor ID of the static collection, and we can just use this as our, oh my gosh, with the, so many windows, and replace the default, just like that, Catman. So you can just grab your editor ID, just paste it in there. You can actually use the static collections. The same thing is the case for structure, or for the stages. So I guess I'll go ahead and explain that real quick. So if we wanted to create like a, an intermediary, like stages leading up to level 1. So let's just do like stream plan 01, level 0, stage 1. And let's say we take this, well, we'll grab our, this is the easy way. Let me show you guys how I often do these. So we'll make our level 0 stage 1 active, and we'll go ahead and drop our static collection from the level 1 building here. And then we right click it and hit fragment, say yes. And now it breaks back into pieces. So now we can delete items. So now we go boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's our stage 1, right? Now we'll do a new layer. We'll go new layer, stream. Oh, I did steam instead of stream. That's why it's out of order. Level 0, stage 2. Let's fix the spelling on this one. How do I rename this? Edit layer, stream. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now we will go and make this one active. Hide you again. Drop that static collection in again. Fragment it. And this is going to be stage 2. So stage 2, we'll say they get, yeah, we'll leave that because I just realized the floor and wall are built in. So we'll just get rid of the sidewalls. There we go. There's our stage 2, etc. And you can repeat that. And then we go through and grab these, and we can make static collections out of each of these. So then we grab these, make static collection, and we'll do, where's our thing? So we'll say level 0, stage 1. We could call it, I guess we could call it level 1. It's really up to you how you want to do it, how you want to name it to organize yourself. Same thing, we'll select all these, make static collection. Let's get this to refresh. Level 0, we'll call this stage 2, right? So now we have these static collections that are our stages. And update this again. For some reason, you have to come up here in the filter and just change it by 1 character to get everything to update. So now if we go into our thing here, we can grab these static collections, and we can insert them before our level 1 building. Whoops, not rows. We want insert columns. Why can't I insert a column? There it is. Insert a column. Oops, no, we don't want to do it there. We want it just here. Just insert shift cells right. There we go. So we can put our level, our stage 1 there. Our stage 2. And now we save this again. Keep the format, close you, save our plugin. And now if we go in and update our plugin, so I got to remember this time we updated building test 1, not 2. So I'm gonna, before we forget, I'm gonna switch this over to 1. And now let's load up this building test. And since we already have our weapon record created, we can update. So we'll apply script, import stage data as our script. And this time when we do these model files, so we want our models, we don't have to do the stage items because we didn't change it. So we should be able to just leave it without anything there. And now we'll take this opportunity to fix this stuff by King Gath, SBT, sure. Simple home for one. We'll just delete this and change that. And I think we're good here. So we'll hit start. And you can see it didn't, so there's less things that are black, which means less things got created because it just had to update like the level plans and everything. So it basically highlights black anything that it needed to edit. So it didn't need to change like our constructible object, didn't need to change our quest because all that stuff stayed the same. So when you update like that, it has to do a lot less work. Go ahead and save this. And pop back into the game. And we'll go back to our Caitlin house test. Canuck82, could you also pin the folder in the quick access sidebar? I don't know if that will show up in Windows Explorer for every program. It does for some, but some like xEdit I think might be using an older version of Explorer for its file search hook, so it might not be able to use it. The desktop shortcuts always seem to work though, so that's why I tend to use those. Choo-choo, on the plugins on text file, the ancient scrolls have made mention of this from back when times. I know, that's looking up how people used to mod like Morrowind and stuff. It was like everything was all manual. Okay, now we got to give the game time, and while we're waiting for that, we'll get Codsworth assigned. So this time we anticipate our custom building materials to show up with that pipe. Those should show up as soon as we select our building plan and this stuff blows up. Oh, and I just realized the music is playing. I gotta turn that off. And then we should see the in-between stages of the building before it gets to our final structure. Now the question I'm not sure how to answer, we're gonna find out, is whether the bed shows up immediately. I think it might. I think there's an extra step we haven't done to tell it, like, not just the level, but what stage, because you can actually determine for stage items, you can tell it when they should appear, like should they only appear at the end or should they appear throughout. So we haven't done that step, but that's the kind of extra stuff you learn going through the text tutorials. All right, so you can see now we've got our thing fixed. It's got the prefix, it has the by King Gath. Go ahead and select this. Let this explode. Get out of the way, Nick. Boom. All right, so there's our custom building materials showed up, and even though they're still a static collection, they still work. Pay and build. And now the building materials should disappear and make way for our stage one, which is just going to be that door frame. And the time is, oh yeah, you can see like our bed didn't appear. So it's just by the nature of having at least one stage, you avoid that problem. So that's good that it's smart enough to do that. So we should see here, the number of stages is divided out by the amount of time it takes to build. So the base build time, I think, is like 50 seconds or 45 seconds, something like that, with a small randomization. And if you have realistic build times on, I think it might be broken. Honestly, realistic build times might not work. But it takes however much time there is, divides up the number of stages you provide, and does it across that amount of time. So if you wanted to get crazy and create 100 stages, you would have a very, very smooth transition from thing to thing as it left each one, but it would take you a long time. Although, as you could see, with how quickly we recreated a couple of stages, it's not bad when you use the static collection method to create chunks. It gets more complicated if you want to do, you'll see some add-on packs, and even some of our buildings in S2 got a little crazy with it, where they edited the NIFs, like maybe they deleted out the, why can't I think of what that meant? Like the sheet metal, they removed the sheet metal, so you just get the scaffolding, then the sheet metal comes later. Like that can all be done in xEdit, but even without that, you can get some very rudimentary building stages very easily in the CK, like I showed you guys with the static collections. So it's pretty quick to add those. So that's like a nice feature to make your building plan look a little nicer that doesn't take a lot of work. And there we go. And we got all our stuff back. All right, let's see if I'm caught up on chat now. I don't think so, because I think my thing bounced back up to the top again. Oh, I'm mostly caught up. Cool. Wasteland Sentinel. Hey, King, just wanted to say thank you for such great mods. Thank you. Thank you for saying so. Appreciate it. Gavman, if we add additional plans, do we put them as more layers in the same cell? Or should we create a new cell for each plan in the add-on? You can just do them in the same one. That's totally fine. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go to COC, and I can never remember the name of this cell. Let's go in here. We'll just create another building plan, and we'll put it in the same plugin. Because yeah, you might want to, if you want to do your own add-on pack, or like after the, like you're not for the competition, just for fun, or even after the competition's over, after the game jam's over, if you want to go back and like take what your submission was and turn it into like, oh, I'm just going to start an add-on pack from this, you absolutely can, and keep adding to it. So let's TGM, and we'll just make something real quick again. So let's do, we're definitely going to stick with our prefabs just to save time. And we'll go ahead and give some walls here. Actually, do we have any? Let's do some non-wood walls here. I guess in other kits we do. Oh yeah, we can go to metal. That's right. Structure metal. Wait, what else do we have? Oh yeah, we can use a DLC just to show how that works. Can you snap? Yes, you can snap the concrete to the wood. Awesome. Oh, the snap point. They got crazy with the snap points on these DLC items. There we go. And of course we got to have our bed. Now, one of the things, like for the competition, we're building marshal plots. So you wouldn't put beds in them generally, but or marshal plots are recreational plots, but the actual premise is the same. You just don't do the bed, and the actual thing that determines how the plan operates is the class you select when doing the plan. So let's pretend we're building a marshal plot for the sake of demonstration here, and whatever furniture you put in there, so things from the furniture category generally, or again, if we go to WRK, that's what I'll show you guys next. I'll show you how to replace these blue men with proper markers. So let's go to the special and idle animations. Let's get one of those guard ones standing out here. Here we go. Here we go. And we have another good one for inside here. Sure, he can do some work on his defenses inside too. There we go. All right, there's our level 1. Go ahead and export that. We'll just do, because right now I just want to show you guys how to get a second plan in there. We don't need to have multiple levels for this. It's the same thing. Export layout, yes. All right, there we go. Let's go to our logs here. And we will call this one, wait, I should remember what the other ones are called. Stream something, I keep forgetting. Stream sort. Stream building plan. This is building plan export 03, I guess. Level 1, and that's all we're gonna do. That's fine, we'll do it. So hit OK, save. Stream building plan 03. Exit here, and we'll go through the same basic process. So this time we already have our plugin created that has the cell, so we can skip that step. So we'll just load up our old plugin from before, and we'll go to our cell. Negative cell, subblock 9, apply script. And we want to search for that WSFW export to cell one again. And we will find our my games, Fallout 4, logs, script, user. I should probably create myself a desktop shortcut to this folder too. I don't know why I hadn't thought about that before. Stream. All right, we want export 03 level 1, and we'll give this one a new name. So we'll stream building plan. Actually, I keep forgetting the prefix. Whatever, this is fine. The layer is less important because you're only going to show, it only shows you the layers in the CK that have active items on them at any time anyway, so it's less important to get the layer names correct. And then we'll put plan 03 level 1. Close here. And then we load that back into the CK. So you can really have infinite layers in there. Eventually you'll get to a point, if you make your add-on pack big enough, where it can start, the CK can start to get kind of slow, and then you might want to create yourself a new cell, but you would have to create an awful lot of content to get to that point. So let's go in. Why does it keep reordering these? I don't know what's going on here. There we go. Oh, I think it's because I keep changing my load order. I think the CK like puts your ones that you've got activated up near the top, and then the rest of them get shooed down to the bottom. But yeah, Gavin, you can use the same cell if you prefer it for organization. There doesn't seem to be any harm to having tons of cells, so it's up to you really. But now I want to show you guys how to replace the blue men, because the blue men work, but you know, there's countless bug reports from players of like, how do I get rid of those blue guys everywhere? They don't know to pop in and out of workshop mode. And then if you have a big enough city plan, popping in and out of workshop mode can take a while before it actually updates all of those. So swapping these blue men is a good idea. Now, hopefully we kept the names of these forms in such a way that it won't be too hard. I have seen the Blue Man Group, yes. Although I can't, it's hard to see the Blue Man Group without thinking of Tobias Funte. That is now my permanent vision of the Blue Men. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please watch and enjoy Season 1 and Season 2 of Arrested Development, and then don't bother with the rest of it because it gets real bad after that. But my God, are the first 2 seasons hilarious. All right, so let's go into our cell here, and we will hide all these cells except for our stream plan 01, which we just did, and then zoom out, and you can see our little concrete bunker here. All right, so now let's talk about swapping out these blue men. So we open these up, you can see that there are these WPM animations. Now, some of them have a name similar to what you would look for. So what you want to do is find the furniture animation that they really represent. There's 2 ways you can do it. I'm going to actually say there's only one way to do it, because the second way requires way too much setup for this stream. So the best way to do it is to open these up. You just double click them, and you can see there where it says animation. You want to look at the part after the WPM animation. So we want guard. So we're going to search for guard over here. Then we're going to click on furniture. And you're going to look for things that have it in them. So in this case, what we really want is this one, standing INV guard post. These should work too, these SS2 markers. I'm trying to check why they have guard level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay, because those add safety, so we don't want those. I think we just want this one. And the way I'm determining which one I actually want is I want one with no actor values on it here. There's also argument that you would want one that says that has this force ownership thing. This is all stuff you actually learn in the text version of the CK. But so let's just go to for the other one, because I think this one we have a direct correlation to it. So let's search for this Neil hammer vertical. Let's see if we have one that's has the ownership set up. It does not. How about this one? So it actually, even though, okay, so the best ones to use are these ones that have SS2 force ownership on them. And the reason for that is when SS2 detects that keyword, it makes sure that only the owner of that building will use that marker. But it's not the end of the world if they don't. So if you can't find one like that, or if this is too confusing, basically you just find anything that has the same words in it. So we've got this Neil hammer vertical. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on this guy, this WPM one, and we're going to hit Control F. And then we're going to uncheck same base object only. And that can take a while because it now has to load in like every form in the CK into this drop-down menu. And then we're just going to search up one of these other ones here. So I'm going to grab the KGSim one. That seems, because I know it has the force ownership. A lot of the KGSim ones are good to use because they've been set up for ages like this. And you can actually type in. So when you click on this replace with, you can just start typing the editor ID you want. So I can go KGSim _ NPC kneeling, or you can do it old school and just scroll through the whole list. So we want Neil hammer vertical. Where are you? Neil hammer vertical. Select it. Hit OK. And you can see it changed a little bit and it swapped it. So now it kept all the position data and everything, but it changed it over to a simple marker. These WPM markers are unique in that they will show up in the game when they are first spawned, and then they hide when the player goes in and out of workshop mode. So if you used any of those blue men from WRK to get animation markers in, you can just swap them with the Control F thing. And I'm waiting for Control F to load on here. Control F is a little bit slow because it has to load up so much information. And then we will go for, let's see if we have a KGSim version of guard. So we'll search for KGSim guard. Yeah, here we go. Oh, that's relaxed though. I don't know if that's the one we want. Let's check and see if it's something weird about it. That one is not owned. So you'll learn about like a lot of the way we name these when you go through the text version of the Creation Kit or of the tutorials. We explain a lot of that stuff. Okay, we'll use this guard object one. I think that's what we want. Let's check. Has the force ownership? Yeah, that'll be fine. KGSim, oops. So, come on, KGSim workshop guard marker, guard object. Sure, we'll swap that over. And if we open this up, it's no longer the WPM version, so we're good there. Alternatively, if you just want to do your animation markers in the CK, this is a good place for that helper. So we go into, we're going to right click here, create a new object window, and that just lets us have multiple of these open so we can have multiple searches going. So let's go under, or let's search for helper under static, and you'll see why I'm going to do this in a second. So we're going to go ahead and drop this alignment helper on the window so it's centered on here. And now that acts kind of as a floor, so if we want to add more markers. So this is where you start to learn this stuff as you get more into the Creation Kit, of like what everything's called. But you can always just search for like NPC star marker and you'll find a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, just NPC. Because there are also furniture for like blood, red roaches and bugs and such, and you don't want those. But if you search for NPC, you'll find the ones often that you can use. And you just got to kind of play around and look for them. So if we go to, I think there's one with lean in the name is what I want. So we'll go like newspaper lean, and you just drag it into the window. And you can just kind of scooch it around. And because I have this helper here, it kind of treats that like a floor. So then I can just drop them right on there and it lines up the floor perfectly. And then you just kind of scooch your view around and get it lined up pretty good in here. So if you don't want to have to swap out the blue men, you can just place the actual furniture markers. That's everything under furniture category is the type of stuff that will have these blue guys that won't, these only render in the Creation Kit. So if I hit M, I hide all the stuff that won't show up in game. It'll still be there, so the NPC can still use that thing and animate right there, but it won't show up visually. Let's see, I think if we use the vanilla ones, we end up with residual markers left over on the plot as shifted upgrades when we have show vanilla markers mod. Yeah, it's because the show vanilla markers mod, what it's doing is it's basically doing the same thing as WPM. So show vanilla markers mod, like we have those WPM markers, which are activators. What these do is these spawn a visual aid, and that's exactly what that mod you're talking about does. And then so that, but that the WPM ones that we use keep track of what they spawn so they can despawn it, whereas the visual one does not do that. So it's spawning them and then they just exist forever, and they don't get cleaned up. Whereas WPM ones, we have them set up in a way that they will detect when the parent gets deleted, and then it'll get rid of the other piece. So I just don't recommend that mod that you're talking about. I know it's helpful to find the vanilla markers, but I would not be using that while you are trying to do this kind of stuff. All right, so let's show you guys the next thing that's useful. So if you want to have working navmesh, so if you want NPCs to be able to path your stuff, there's a couple of steps you've got to do. The first one is you need to actually navmesh the building, but I think the first step is actually the better first step is to actually learn a little bit of nifscope. So we're going to exit here. And nifscope is available online. Let me find you guys a link. No, where's my other? Here we go. Let's go to, I'm going to search for it over here, because I actually don't know where the latest repo is for it now, because it's some other people have kind of messed with it over the years. So the version that I use is available here. I have started using a new like Dev 10 version that somebody else has taken on, but this one by Hexabits is pretty reliable. And where is the download button? Right over here, you can grab this nifscope.7z. So another one that's done with 7-zip. So I'm glad you grabbed that. I'll go ahead and paste that into chat. So you can grab nifscope. This is just like FO4Edit, where you don't actually have to install it. You just kind of put it in there. I've set mine up so it's associated with those with the .nif files, so I can just double click my files and load them. But let's go in and we're going to mess with our things we created. So we're going to mess with our level 1 here. All right, and what we need for this is to go into our Automaker's Toolkit, into the folder called navcut meshes, and we're going to open this in a second window of nifscope. So if you need to associate files, usually the first time when you double click a file that your computer's never seen, it'll ask you if you want to associate a program with it, and you can navigate to wherever you extract a nifscope and make it permanent, so then you can just double click these files. I have a tutorial on my web channel on how to set up nifscope completely so that the textures render and everything. That's a good idea if you want to learn this step. This is not necessary, by the way, guys. If you're here just to learn like the basics, this is kind of more advanced territory. It's not that hard, but it makes the settlers be way smarter with your building plan. So nifscope, it shows what nifs are, and nifs are basically like a wrapper thing that Bethesda puts around model files, around meshes, so that the game can have other information stored in these files about them. So I'm just expanding like it's kind of like a folder. So like the top folder is called this BS fade node. And all we want to do is go in here and grab this navcut here, and we click it and hit Control C on our keyboard, come over to this guy, Control V, drops that navcut in. Can also be helpful to do the editor marker too. So you grab the editor marker, paste that in. If you do the editor marker, you've got to come on this BSX here, click on the little flag, and check in editor marker. Otherwise, this editor marker can show up in game. You want to make sure that it does not. And basically what we've done here is we've told the game that everywhere this white box is, to ignore the world's nav mesh or ignore the settlement's nav mesh, and instead use the nav mesh that we're going to tell you about. That's what this does. So now we get save. Yeah, it's going to give us this little warning. That's okay. Close that. We don't need this anymore. And now we go, and we didn't have to close out of the creation kit to do this. Don't know why I did that. It's just the force of habit of like when you're doing building plan setups. We could have left it open while we did that part. But that's the first step, so that you're telling the game by putting in that nav cut thing, and we can go ahead and copy it from here into our other level too. You can see it's very easy. It doesn't. There's no like manipulating stuff. Like we set up these templates to be very easy to do this with. Grab the nav cut, paste it in here. Grab the editor marker, paste it in. Change your flag, so the game knows that there's an editor marker. Save. Say okay to all the warnings. So now, and you'll notice that with this one, the thing doesn't cut or doesn't cover the whole building. It doesn't need to. What it's doing is saying all it has to cut into the floor. You can see that if I shift this just right, it's a little bit below the floor. It's just saying that, hey, any nav mesh under me, just ignore it. Because the way the nav mesh works is kind of cool in the game. I'll show you. Close this. So let's load this up, and I'll show you how the nav mesh works. It's kind of neat. Where is our plugin? We want. Oh yeah, that's right. It got sorted up to the top. Stream building test.esp. Set as active. Hit OK. Wait 10 minutes for the CK to load. Sonic Phil, you'll be adding the stream to your Mod School playlist for future reference. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to clip from about 10:38 till like 11:20, where I did it without any fails, where I got through like a full process of making a building plan. Because my initial stream was a lot of me, wait, hold on, we need to do this. Hold on, we got to go back and do this. And then the end of my stream now is getting into advanced stuff. So I think we'll clip like that 35, 40 minutes, turn that into a video on there. Yes, so that it's easier for reference. And then you can watch it 2x. Listen to me talk a million miles an hour and watch the whole thing in 20 minutes. Choo-choo, you can try to make the seller as smart as you want. They're still just going to stand on the sanctuary roofs. That's true. But at least they won't walk through your walls. That's what we're going to fix here. There's another step. I think one of the other steps people are going to get, I should probably show people before I end the stream. Because I think this is going to be required for people to actually release their thing for the Game Jam, is you got to be able to package up your add-on. And it's actually, if you try and do it the way Bethesda wants you to do it, you'll cause a lot of problems for people. So I'm going to show people how to do it my way, which is a little bit safer. But first, let's do this nav mesh thing. So if we go to our thing, so if we search these up, stream. What you do is you just find your static records. Now you can't do this with static collection. Like if I go here, there's nothing related to nav mesh on this menu. But if I right click one of these statics and go to nav mesh object, it goes into this kind of mode. You can see this nav mesh thing up here. And it looks basically the same right now. Interestingly, do I have to hit M? There we go. So if I hit M, I can see that white box. And this is important. You're going to want to toggle this on and off with M. So we're going to turn that off. And what we're basically going to do is paint little triangles on the ground. So we're going to right click, makes a little triangle, hold control, right click again, and puts another dot. Then when we do our third one, it makes a triangle. Now you can see it has two green ones. And if we right click or control right click, so it's hold control, right click, and you can see it's just kind of making triangles as we go. So now right here, I can go into this corner if I want, boop. I can select these two. So you click one, hold control, select another, control click, place another. And I basically just kind of cover the ground with these triangles. And if one goes underground like this, you click it, hold Z on your keyboard, and you can lift it up and down. So click that, hold control, click over here, click next to the door, grab him. Here's another little trick. If you grab 3 dots, you push A, creates a new triangle between them. Put one more in that corner. And then we're going to let the NPC squeeze out the door right here. Basically, you're just telling that you're painting on the ground like this is where you're allowed to walk. Nowhere else. Okay, now here's where we need the M. So now we've got our 2 doorways selected. We hit M. We kind of angle down here, and we click a triangle here. And then we hit unhide M. There we go. Now we basically made ourselves like a little path out of that white box. And I'm going to now control this and this. Hit M to show the box. Do it again. M to hide it again. And now we basically said, like, this is how you get out. This is how you get outside, out of the box. Because if you can imagine, in the base game, the whole world is covered in these triangles. Bethesda uses a lot of automation to do it, and then they clean it up by hand. But there's just these triangles everywhere in the world. In your settlement, as you build things, they have these patterns on them. So if we were to go look at like a floor for a workshop, it has these on them already. And what the game will do is it will dynamically try and stitch together a full continuous nav mesh. So it'll be like, all right, well, these two triangles that you shot out here are kind of close to like these two over here in the world. So we'll just go ahead and create interconnected ones. So in the game world, when this gets placed down, the whole world will be covered in triangles, but because we gave it this white box, this will slice a hole exactly this shape in the base game world nav mesh and say, okay, now take these edges that we created for you and stitch it to our nav mesh. Our nav mesh is now the law. So everything that's in this white area that doesn't have red triangles, no one's allowed to walk there anymore. Now, if we wanted to let more of this area be walkable up here, we could do something like this. We could grab, so let's hide this again. We could grab this, and we could grab this, and we can start creating more little triangles, and we could kind of attach them to the building if we want, and we can kind of trace a path around. I find that to be mostly unnecessary, and like what I have right here, this is what I'll do. This is good enough. Like I would rather have the settlers not be allowed to go in this area than to have them bopping into the walls or having to spend hours trying to stitch together a crazy nav mesh around this. So this is generally good enough. And then we go to nav mesh, and where's the finalize button? And we need to do you can do finalize loaded area. That'll be fine. Finalize loaded area. And then that locks down the nav mesh, turns all the edges a different color. Hit X, save. And now our NPCs will correctly be able to path around this building. They won't walk into those walls. And you can just do that for each of them. So without the white box around it, it can be hard. Well, what'll happen if you don't have the white box, then you're at the mercy of whatever items are underneath you. And a lot of times your NPCs without the white box will just ignore it, because in the base game, there will be almost certainly triangles in the nav mesh that lead them, that say, hey, there's a clear path to go right through this wall. And that's why they walk through the wall. So these white boxes just make it so much easier. Stairs are a little bit trickier. Go here, and then you just kind of go halfway up the stair. Now we want this guy and this guy. Do it again. A nice hotkey here is when you have two selected. If you push tab, push tab, it'll select the opposite one with that triangle. So tab again, tab, and you just kind of walk it up the stairs. And then this is really tricky. You just kind of got to tell the settler, like, sorry, you got to figure this one out for yourself. Like this particular piece that I used is really bad for nav mesh. It's very rare the NPCs will ever figure this little walk up. They technically can do it, but they're not very smart at it. So now another thing that comes up when you're nav meshing inside of these buildings is we're not taking into account major furniture pieces. So that is just kind of something you learn how to deal with. You learn how to be like, okay, well, I know there's a bed right over here taking up most of this space. It doesn't have to be perfect. And like the NPCs will figure it out. They'll make little leaps. Like if there's like a bed right here and there's a gap, they'll connect to it anyway. But you just kind of walk around your building and just paint the ground with these little triangles. Happy little accidents. I don't know if you guys can hear that beep. I have I installed like a server level KVM switch because they're so fast and it lets me bop back and forth through two computers really quick. But it likes to hijack certain keys, and then when you click them, it makes an angry beep at me. So I keep getting these occasional angry red beeps. And then like going around pillars is interesting. But it goes real, like once you get used to this, so it's very, very easy. This to me is like Zen type work. This is like working on a Zen garden. This is just so chill. It takes almost zero mental energy once you learn all the hotkeys. Like I could do this for hours. Some people absolutely despise this, find this not worth doing. That's fine. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Players will appreciate it if you do it, but you don't have to. It doesn't, you know, they're still, like you guys said, they're still going to end up on the roof. So you might think, well, why bother? And when you get to situations like this, like you can, if you want, you can connect them. Like if you right click in the middle of a line, it'll add it, it'll create new triangles. So I can do this and then here, and then kind of like lift this guy and maneuver him. Like you can get, yeah, you can do weird stuff like this. It's may or may not matter. Like I said, this particular piece I use with the stairs and the floor with no edge near it, really hard for the settlers to navigate. Generally, you'd want to leave like an extra little blob, just like when you're building in settlements, right? You would rarely set up like this because you know the settlers aren't going to path. Same holds true for when you're building stuff in the CK. It's the same rules. And same with this, like how the hell are they going to get past this wall? That's just bad design choice I made there. But you get the idea. And then we get back to this. Grab our little guys here, and we need, oh, that one went a little too low. Oh, I just disconnected him. If you get ones that are free floating, you got to find some buddies near them and connect them. And then here, zoom in, and out to here. And then we'll hide this again with them. And there we go. Got our nice little path. And we want finalize loaded area. There we go. And there we go. We've now nav meshed. So nav mesh is one of those things that, like, when you first start doing it, it takes forever. And then when you learn all the hotkeys and how to move your window around, it's super fast. But like I said, that's extra. These are the extra steps you could go through. Some other extra steps you could do. If we go back into our cell here, let's hide everything but our level 1 plan. Some extra things you could do. You could add the holiday markers. So if we go to Activator, search for holiday, and what you want are these holiday controlled guys. And if we put on like holiday wall small, where did it go? Oh, I gotta hit M to show the things. You get this little purple thing, and this is where those little posters are going to appear, and they'll get dynamically swapped for whatever season it is. Or we have hanging medium, and then this one you put up here, and it's showing you where it's going to hang. The connection point should be up here. And when it's not a holiday, these things will just be invisible. Will be nothing there. Same thing you can do with the theme controlled. What is it? No, is it dynamic? I'm trying to remember what these are called. Flag. Here we go. Flag controlled. So you can do the flag controlled. So we want to do, let's say, down pole. Let's put in, oh, nope, that's not the one I want. This one. There we go. You have this little indoor flag, and this will get swapped dynamically with whatever flag the player has selected for that settlement. So these are not, those types of things are not available in game. At least I don't believe they are. It would be possible, choo-choo, not to give you more things to do, but it would be possible to get these. We do have the dynamic flags. You guys can place those in the in city plans. I don't think we have holiday placers. Maybe I'm wrong. Do we have holiday placers, guys, in WRK? I know we have the flag things you can place, but you can add them in your building plans too. And then exporting them is the same way. Just select everything and do the stage item thing. We do have holiday markers in DBRK. Okay, that's awesome. I didn't know if we ever did that. But you can do it easily in the CK in here, or you can use the ones in there. The difference will be in the same way the blue men markers are different. What you're placing with WRK will be these WPM versions of them, and the WPM versions will temporarily show like this teal thing to the player. So if you don't want that, you can use these flag controlled ones and manually place them in the CK, or just do that Control F thing. So if you find in here the WPM flag controlled one, you can search for it and replace it with the one that doesn't have WPM in the name. And then same thing with the holiday. I'm guessing if we have those, we must have WPM. Yeah, we have the WPM holiday. Just switch the WPM ones for the ones with the controlled in the name instead. And that's with the Control F. And that will get you the version that doesn't show up temporarily as a marker in game. You know, I'm already working on redacted. You're working on a lot, man. So, but I don't need to add more to your list. You have enough. You got enough stuff coming in. All right. Is there any other? Oh, I know. I got to show you guys how to wrap up your plugin. Okay. So, once you're done and you're ready to package up, a lot of tutorials will tell you to go here and go to File, Create Archive. Don't do that. Don't do that. Go into your Fallout folder, and you're going to go to Tools, and you're going to go to Archive 2. This is installed automatically when you install the Creation Kit. And you're going to launch this Archive 2 program. Then you're going to go into wherever your meshes are for your plan. You're going to grab them, and you're just going to drag them into there. Now you're going to hit Save As. Go to your data folder for Fallout 4. And you're going to enter in the name here almost exactly the same as your plugin name. So if we go to let's find our plugin. I already forgot the name of it. Stream building test. So we'll grab that part. And then you're going to go -main and hit save. And now to release your mod, you just zip up these two files. Where'd they go? So you just grab this test main and this test ESP, and you can do 7-zip, or I think Windows has a zip, doesn't it? Built in. Yeah, send to compressed zip folder. And then we'll name this stream building test mod. And there you go. You're ready to release that on Nexus. That's good to go. For releasing on Bethesda.net, you just log into Bethesda.net. And once you're done logging, hit upload plugin to PC or Xbox, and it'll ask you to like type in some information about it, give it a description and stuff. But this file right here, the zip, where you just took these two files and connected them, you're ready to upload that, enter the contest, or release an add-on pack for fun, whatever you want to do. But that Archive 2, and then when you need to update, like if you change your models or add more, same thing, except first you will go to Archive 2 and hit Open, and then navigate to your main file, or you can do what I've done. I've associated BA2s with Archive 2, so I can just double-click them. And then you do the same thing. You just go into your meshes folder, if you had more that you made, or if you update, even if you updated them. So like, even if I left them the same name, I still need to come back here and drag it in and tell them like, hey, it's time to update this. So you grab them, or you can grab all your plans. You can even grab your folders and do it, which is nice. And then just file save. So that is the best way to package up. Oh, for doing armories, watchtowers, etc. So that is done in the xEdit step. You don't actually have to do anything special in game. The only thing you need to do special is residential, because you have to put the beds in. Without the beds, the class doesn't add that functionality, but all other functionality is controlled by the class. So if we go into xEdit, and it's best to do this in xEdit because the class is actually referenced in several locations. If you've ever had it happen where there's a couple add-on pack buildings out there that I think show up as a different class sometimes, like they'll show up in two different class forms, and that is because they tried to do it in the CK and didn't know enough about how to do it. But if you do it in xEdit, it covers all the different spots where the class is handled. But you basically, when you're selecting your building plan, or like you're importing your new one, or if you want to come in and change it. So let's go to, what was that? Import stage data, right? Well, we want the SS2 version. In here, it's just selecting the right one. So if we switch this to Marshall, whatever you select from here, it will give the functionality to it. So there's no requirements for any of them, other than, like I said, beds for residential. But even like shops, even shops are done dynamically. You don't even have to. You used to have to with SS1. You have to make sure you have a shopkeeper marker, but that's not required for SS2 now. So all the functionality is handled by the class. All right. So does anybody else want to see anything else? Otherwise, I think it's time for me to crash. I gotta I got to get up kind of early tomorrow. But I do plan on doing two things. One, tomorrow, I have two things to do tomorrow. One is I'm going to clip this video down to that section we talked about so that it'll be easier to follow along if you need to watch it again. I am going to be adding the in-game building tools to the add-on makers toolkit, and presumably I will be able to get, tomorrow morning I'll be able to get the clone tool working so that you can just hit a button and clone your level 1 to level 2 or whatever to speed things up. And then on Friday night, I will be putting out an announcement video that announces the theme of the contest and tells everybody to go. That's your starter pistol. And then good news, I was supposed to be traveling this weekend, but I'm not now. So I'm hoping to stream either Saturday or Sunday night to join in with you guys. Just work on a building plan. I'm obviously not going to enter my own contest, but if I get something done in the time, I'll release it just for people to use, and that'll be fun. So I might be streaming. So if you're looking for a buddy, and I could answer, or I could just stream and answer questions and just like not actually work on anything and just help you guys who are getting stuck on the technicals. That might be something I do as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what you guys create. Definitely. I'm trying to think. It's not a link in the. You guys can't paste a link. Let me see if I can get. Hold on. I need to get a link to the We Are Builders channel. Do you guys, those of you guys who are on it in the know, do I have permission to just like put out an invite? Is that something I'm allowed to do? I don't know what my permissions are in there. Also, I got to find the. Hold on. Plotapalooza general. Can I create an invite? I have no idea if I can. It says I can. Well, it says I have. It says I can make an invite link. All right, I want to paste this Discord link. Oh, somebody else beat me to it. I'll say that's the We Are Builders Discord. If you guys want, that's gonna be a great spot to get help during the jam. Alrighty, cool. I think that's it for me. I think I'm gonna go to sleep. So I've got a lot to do because I want to get you guys with all the tools you need to kick ass at the contest. So thanks for joining me. I hope this was useful. And I will catch you guys next week. Or maybe Saturday night.